And it's Lincoln City away at Crewe Alexandra this afternoon. The star of the Hope and Glory podcast, Rob Makepeace, will be live from Crewe, from 2, all rhymes, and he's with us now. You see, I made you a star, Rob. Pre-season friendlies, it wasn't a bad week for the Imps last week.
No, it wasn't. A big victory against Boston United, and they had a behind closed doors game as well in midweek against Harrogate, which they won. Of course, it matters a little bit in terms of getting that mentality of winning, but really the scores and the results only matter when we get to the 5th of August, a fortnight today, when it is playing for points.
So is today sort of, is it another opportunity to really see what Lincoln are made of then? This is surely going to be a bit of a tougher challenge for them today.
Yeah, playing a Crewe side who are based in League 2, so the league below Lincoln City, and what we're expecting today from Lincoln in particular, and we'll probably see from Crewe as well, is a lot of the players get 90 minutes for the first time over pre-season. We've seen players get 45 minutes early doors in pre-season, then they kind of get up to the 60-70 minute mark. But Lincoln have 2 friendlies in the next few days. They play Crewe today, then they're at Grimsby on Tuesday evening, where we'll see the split squads, and I think you'll see a lot of players get 90 minutes today and a lot of players get 90 minutes on Tuesday night as well.
Does this give you any sort of clear idea of what's to come then in the new season? Is it quite hard to predict still at this point what's in store for Lincoln over the next 12 months or so?
Yeah, the reason we come to these games as reporters more than anything is to get an idea for style of play, for formation, as to what Lincoln City are looking for this season. And I think that probably won't change now. We won't see much change in that. So what Lincoln line up formation-wise today and what they've lined up so far in pre-season has been pretty similar to how they played last year. So it gives us a good idea of that. When it comes to the actual starting 11 for that opening day against Bolton, I think we probably won't have any idea on that. Maybe until next Saturday we might have a slight idea of the thoughts of Mark Kennedy when they take on Rotherham United, but even so you can still get changes within that week, and there could be things that they do that they decide to change ahead of the opening day. So we're getting more of an idea, I think. But when I look through the team, and I can't say the team because it's not out till 2 o'clock, but when I look through the team today, it's probably not exactly the team I would say Lincoln City are going to line up with at the start of the season, but it's not far off what you would expect them to be lining up with. So we're getting ever closer to having that kind of finalised.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll have more from 2 on Hope and Glory today. And of course, you can keep up to date with whatever's going on at Lincoln City on the Hope and Glory podcast. It's available now on BBC Sounds.
BBC Radio Lincolnshire, Hope and Glory. Rob Makepeace with you through until 6 o'clock this evening. This afternoon's show coming live from Lincoln City's latest pre-season friendly as they take on League 2 side Crewe Alexandra. I'll run through your Lincoln City starting 11 today. In goal is Lucas Jensen. It's the usual back 5 formation for Lincoln City. So the back 5, Lass Sorensen, Adam Jackson, Paulie O'Connor, Sean Rowan and Jaden Brown. Ethan Arahan and Ted Bishop, the 2 central midfielders. Rico Hackett and Danny Mandroyo either side of Ben House up front. You know we're edging towards the start of the season because the benches suddenly don't have as many players on. In fact, just the 6 players on the bench today for Lincoln City. Sub-goalkeeper Jordan Wright, TJ Omer, Oshin Gallagher, Jay Ben, Alistair Smith and Dylan Duffy. That's your Lincoln City team taking on Crewe today. We'll bring you coverage as like last week. We don't commentate on the pre-season friendlies. They're notoriously dull. So we'll bring you updates. We'll let you know as the goals go in. We'll bring you commentary of the goals, but we won't be doing ball by ball, kick by kick commentary like we will in a fortnight's time when the season gets underway against Bolton Wanderers in League One. In the build-up to the game, though, before 3 o'clock, you're going to be hearing from Lincoln City's Director of Football, Jez George. He'll be joining us up here in the commentary box at Crewe, which is a pretty long walk, I think it's fair to say. You do need a little bit of a rest when you get up here. It's a very tall stand at Crewe to get to the back of it. So Jez will be joining us to talk of the latest on transfers and how he feels the summer has gone so far. Lots of rumours going around about further signings incoming. We'll get the latest on that as well before 3 o'clock. And we'll also hear about what's going on in Lincoln as well, because behind the scenes at the LNER Stadium there's been lots of changes off the pitch with regards to how the stadium looks and how it will work this season as well. So we'll hear from club's Director of Operations, Damien Frogger, on the way before 3 as well. Next up, though, it's Waffle House, Jonas Brothers. 10 minutes past 2. It is Hope and Glory. Continue our coverage of Lincoln City in the build-up to the new League One season, which gets underway a fortnight today away at Bolton. We'll have Full match commentary of the Imps home and away throughout the season. Every match on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Elsewhere today in terms of pre-season action, we'll be keeping an eye on Boston United. They've got another home game against a EFL opposition. They'll be hoping it goes better than last week's 7-0 defeat to Lincoln City. They take on Notts County this afternoon at the Jakeman's Community Stadium. Also in pre-season action today, Grantham Town, they're at Kimberley Miners Welfare. Spalding United are at Stratford Town. Stamford taking on Peterborough Sports. Remarkably, a game has been postponed because of a waterlogged pitch in pre-season. Gainsborough Trinity's game against Loughborough University has been called off, so no game today for Trinity. They're back in action on Tuesday night. Before 3 as well, we'll also get the latest from the Open Golf. We've got a reporter there, so we'll be getting the latest with regards to what's going on there as the leaders are set to tee off in around an hour's time. It is 11 minutes past 2. We'll talk about things behind the scenes at Lincoln City after Adamski and Killer. Killer on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. It is 2:15. Rob with you for Hope and Glory this afternoon. Lincoln City's game at Crewe is going to be our focus from 3 o'clock. Not full match commentary, but we'll keep you up to date as the chances happen and the goals go in here between the side from League One and the side from League Two. But if you missed it this week, we had the Hope and Glory podcast available for you on a Thursday night, which is when it always becomes available for you to download on BBC Sounds. Every Thursday night at 7 o'clock you can get the latest from the Imps. And throughout the summer, well, we've not had too much football to talk about. We've had a lot of interviews from behind the scenes at the football clubs with the new signings as well as they've been coming in. And this week the focus was on what you can expect when you head back to Sincil Bank, whether that's going to be next week with that pre-season friendly against Rotherham United, or for that first home game of the league season, because there has been a lot of changes going on behind the scenes at the LNER Stadium over the summer, and I went to meet the club's Director of Operations, Damien Froggatt.
It's always a busy time for us in the summer. The closed season period is an incredibly busy time for the ops team and for everybody behind the scenes in general, and as you can see, there's a huge amount of work taking place.
Let's go through it bit by bit then, and the biggest change that fans will see at the start of the season will be the safe standing, which has gone on to upper 7. Just explain that and how it works and what it will mean for the club going forward.
Sure, well, it's on the back of really a lot of work behind the scenes with the Sports Ground Safety Authority and the government, reintroducing or looking at various ways that different fans can have their experience of football. Standing obviously being a significant one of those really. And I think we've been working with the authorities for around about 18 months since the early adopter scheme, when some clubs started to look at this, and working closely with both the authorities and obviously engaging with the fans. We recognise first of all that we need to make the experience safer for the supporters, particularly in block upper 7 who do stand, and also to create an environment where people that want to stand can do safely. So that's been the kind of driving force behind it, and the solution that we have, along with many other clubs, is that we've installed some barriers in that block in upper 7, which will effectively mean it's safe and hopefully more enjoyable for those supporters in that block to stand and enjoy watching the game.
So in terms of what we will see, is there are barriers in front of where you would sit usually, and that's to stop people toppling forward in goal celebrations, things like that?
Absolutely correct, yeah. I mean, there's two different models. You can either install an integrated seat, which has got a barrier built into the seat, or you can retrofit, if you like, barriers into the existing infrastructure, and that's the solution that fits most appropriately with that particular stand and its design. And you're exactly right. The whole idea is it's designed to make it safer.
Capacity wise, does it change anything in terms of a stadium capacity?
Well, we've managed to, as a result of this project, sort of reinstate a few seats on the front row, which we had to take out a few years ago, from a safety point of view. So there's a little bit of a seat gain there, and equally it's part of the whole investment plan that we recognise that's a really important block for generating the experience and the atmosphere in the stadium. So that was a bit of a gain as well.
And do you think, you've already said about the early adopter scheme, do you think we'll see more and more clubs take on these safe standing, whether it's a whole stand, whether it's a block like you've done? Do you think this is going to be the way forward for football clubs?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's recognised widely now that many clubs across the country have started to introduce safe standing, whether it be integrated seats or barriers. Many Premier League clubs, lots of Championship clubs. So it's widely in evidence. We've been to a lot of different stadiums around the country. We've worked with other clubs that have got their safe standing already in place, and I can only see it increasing really.
With regards to the Stacey West stand, we'll talk about the development a little later, but part of the plan was potentially having the safe standing. Will this inform your opinion of what to do going forward?
Absolutely, yeah. First of all, it's a really good, manageable kind of demo model for us in a relatively small, controlled area. So, it's good practice for us in terms of managing that space. And equally, it will give us a sort of a wider understanding of what the opportunities might look like in the future for the Stacey West stand.
That's the club's Director of Operations, Damien Froggatt. You'll hear more from him after 5 o'clock about the changes at Sincil Bank, including the removal of one of the stands and the plan going forward as well. We'll be joined by the Imps Director of Football, Jez George, shortly here on Hope and Glory. Over the summer, plenty of speculation with regards to ins and outs at Lincoln City Football Club. The man who sorts all that out and helps sort all those things out is Jez George, the club's Director of Football. And Jez, well, it has been a busy summer so far with 5 permanent signings coming in. You must be pleased to get those over the line.
Yeah, I think so. It's a difficult market, and obviously we made a real conscious effort this year that we wanted to try and secure permanent signings, and we've done that. And look, we're really happy with the business we've done. It's not to say we always want more, and we know there's a little bit more work to do, and we're very conscious of that. But yeah, to be where we are at the moment and the calibre of the players that we've managed to bring in, we're really pleased.
Yeah, Harvey Jabaro came up with the phrase he wants to own a squad, not rent a squad, the club's investor and director. How does that differ when it comes to recruitment? Does it make life easier, being able to try and get players in permanently, or does it make it a little bit more difficult compared to loans?
No, look, those words have been ringing in my ears, and we speak about it a lot. I think the loan market has changed significantly as well over the last 5 years, and I think one of the biggest things you have to do as a football club is adapt to the marketplace. So if you actually look at the type of loans that have been available this summer, they would be restrictive anyway in terms of what we could afford to bring and the quality. The key thing about loans originally for us was that the sort of the cost quality ratio was in our favour, and it enabled us, especially in that first couple of years in this league, to compete. But it's definitely a stated aim, and I think we've had a really clear idea of the type of player we want to bring to the club. We've worked really closely with the coaching staff and the recruitment team in terms of profiling every position and having a clear identity of what we're trying to do, and creating those filters and having a real, as I said, clarity of what the team needs to look like and what therefore we need to bring in terms of the right attributes for each position. That's the most important thing, and then obviously securing your targets, and we've worked really, really hard to do that.
It's Mark Kennedy's first full summer as the head coach here, and being able to have that say in recruitment, I'm sure, this year. The big thing that I can see that's changed is the height of the players. He's certainly gone for a lot more physical standard of player. Is that something he asked for in particular? Is that something you feel you've needed in League One?
Look, I think it's something we've all recognised. I think that the season before Mark's arrival, we were definitely a team that was vulnerable. When we played really, really well, we could win games, but when we didn't, we found that very, very difficult to pick up points. We found it difficult to defend set plays. We found it difficult to defend against real direct teams, and that is a lot of what you find in this league. So I think it was something that the club recognised, and Mark, coming into the league, immediately identified. And there's absolute alignment in wanting us to nudge up the physicality, nudge up the athleticism, so that overall we're a really difficult team to play against.
We don't know the starting 11 on the opening day yet. We're getting closer to probably having an idea of what it's going to be like. One player who's playing today, Sean Rowan, you managed to secure as well. Does that almost feel like a new signing, the fact that you've been able to hold on to him?
Yeah, we were confident that Sean would sign. I mean, there's only so much we can say publicly. Sean's been here since a young man. He did his scholarship here. He's developed and progressed. If you look at the minutes played by young players last year in League One that weren't loan players, Sean was top of that list and had the trust of Mark to play multiple games. So we just had to dot I's and cross T's probably, and let Sean, make that decision for himself at the right time. So you want the player and everybody to be aligned and comfortable. But yeah, we see Sean as a massive part of the team going forward. Mark speaks highly of him publicly and obviously privately as well. And he'll play left side of a 3 today, and that's obviously his preferable position. But sometimes young players need to get in the team and get their first 20-25 games to then be able to play in their first best position, and that's certainly what Sean did last year. So yeah, delighted that he signed that contract, delighted that we've managed to secure Freddie on a longer contract as well. And look, that's part of the job, isn't it? It's not only recruiting externally, it's looking after the players that we can produce internally ourselves and create the right pathways for them, and to do so you need the time for them to develop, and the club needs the security of them being on long-term deals.
Question will always be, what's next? Who's coming next? Is anybody close? What's
do you want 3 names? No. We know there's 2 or 3 really big priorities now for the group. We've been working on those, and look, this is the thing about recruitment. Sometimes you can go 95% through a process and then you're back to square one when it falls through, or someone says no, or they go somewhere else, or for some reason you can't quite execute. So yeah, there's 3 positions we're very, very keen to do something. A couple of those hopefully before the start of the season, but we're also aware that we've got 6 weeks of the window left. So making the right moves is something we've said all summer. It's not the quickest move, it's making the right move that matters, and we'll continue with that mantra. But yeah, we're focused on 2 or 3 key positions that if we can get those right players in, then we think we can be really competitive.
We've seen a number of names get mentioned over the last couple of weeks, the likes of Tommy Lee, Jesse Deborah amongst others. How difficult is that as a director of football to either go, they know about our interest, or there's no interest in that player, but we can't say there's no interest?
Yeah, I find that quite easy because I tend not to read it or listen to it or watch too much of it, because the job's difficult enough without worrying about what everyone else is thinking, to be honest. We know what we're doing. We're trying to sign the best possible players for Lincoln City within our parameters. We get fantastic support from the board, from Clive, from Harvey, and from the guys, and we're really clear with what we can and can't do. We spend a lot of time, Liam, myself, Mark, making sure that we have clarity in what's next, and making sure over a summer when you're hoping to bring in total maybe 8 players, that you never snook yourself, that one decision prevents the next. So yeah, we spend enough time trying to do our jobs, and it's good fun in football to speculate, and that's the job of the supporters, and we hope to please them in the end when we sign the right players. But the bit of are they, aren't they, I'll leave that to others.
And sometimes can that be agents just trying to get interest in their players, or try and get other clubs interested? Of
course. And sometimes it'll be clubs doing it, sometimes it'll be agents doing it. Mostly the free transfer players, the out of contract players, are the ones you can keep dead quiet, because ultimately it's in no one's interest for that to get out, and when it's in no one's interest for it to get out, it rarely does. When there may be a reason for it to get out that might help somebody, and that is rarely us, that's why it doesn't come from us. Things will get into the public domain, but yeah, that we've all been in it long enough. I've got enough grey hair to know that doesn't really matter. Ultimately, if there's a deal to be done and there's a transfer to execute, there's 3 parties involved, because we have to convince the club and the player. If it's a free agent, it's just the player. So yeah, it's mostly the ones who are contracted to another club probably that speculation becomes a little bit more prevalent.
And if you said about those 3 players that you're trying to get in, if you can get 2 in before the start of the season, how much of a relief will that be? Because it feels like the last couple of years it's been getting to deadline day and there's been players needed, whereas this year there's obviously a clear plan to try and not have that happen on deadline day. Yeah,
and one of the things that we talked about at the start of this interview was getting away from the reliance on loan players and becoming a lot more our own squad, and that means that you can make signings a little bit earlier. The majority of those signings last year at the back end of the window were loan players, and you have to wait for the parent club to let those players out. And then you get the stuff like there's a Carabao Cup game, we're not going to let them out until we're out of that competition and they get through the first round, so then the second round's at the end of August. So yeah, we want to avoid that situation. We want to be in a position where if there is a loan to take late in the window that makes real sense to us, we have those spaces available, but we want to try and construct the squad without relying on that. And yeah, we're working really hard to try and get a player here for the 5th of August. But equally, we know the season doesn't finish till the 5th of May, so we've got to get the right ones rather than just trying to get someone in for the sake of it, and we won't do that. We'll make the right decision for the next 46 games.
The big question I've had when I speak to people in and around football over the last fortnight is, how do Lincoln look? How do Boston look? Whoever I've been watching. As someone who's been watching Lincoln now for the last couple of weeks, how do you judge it at this stage, or can you judge it, or is that still that nervousness of you just don't know until the 5th of August?
Yeah, I don't think you can ever replicate what comes on the first day of the season in pre-season, but what you can do is you can have the players in the best condition possible, and I think that the feel of the place is positive. I think that the medical and sports science guys are happy with where the players are in terms of their fitness, and certainly really happy with how they came back. We've got a little work to do to catch Tyler up, and that's why he's not here today. He's done some work again with the staff this morning, and hopefully people get to see him next week. So it's just trying to get the group in the best physical condition to start the season, and then for Mark and the coaching staff to start the patterns and the combinations and the relationships and the way of playing. And because a large core of the group were here from last year, and a lot of that was embedded, especially in the second half of the season, that feels like a little bit more continuity than perhaps we've had previous. But look, the league's going to be dead competitive. I've heard a few people trying to tell me that it's going to be less this, less that than last year. Doesn't look it from where I'm sat. This looks like there's a lot of really big clubs. There's a lot of people spending a lot of money, and we want to just be as competitive as we can be and do it our way. We're really clear with what we wanted to do in recruitment. We haven't finished that, but we're maybe 3/4 of the way through it, and if we can finish that off, we just want to have a really hungry, talented young group with all the attributes that we think are required to compete at this level, that can do the supporters proud and compete as high as we can in this league.
A final question. Hayden Can, news today, he's gone to Peterborough Sports at National League North level. There was a mix of fortunes for our young players at that level last year, but it's a good chance this year for Hayden to get regular football once again.
Look, it's a brilliant one for Hayden. I know Michael Gash really well. He played for me a couple of times, and Luke Steele, we know, they've been up to our training ground. They've watched Hayden train. Look, he played 40 odd games in the level below last year in a team that finished 4th in the league, so he's earned his move, and that's really key for those young players. We've got a nice group of talented young players just below the first team, and if we can get that calibre alone, Sam's up in Scotland, Freddie's obviously with Walsall, there'll be 2 or 3 others going out as well to get that football, and below that, whoever turned up at Ashby Avenue the other night and saw our youth team play against Lincoln United, they know there's a bit of a pipeline being created now. So for the long term of the club, that's really exciting.
Jez, thanks for joining us. That's Jez George, the club's Director of Football here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. We've just heard from the club's Director of Football, Jez George, there about players potentially coming into Lincoln City. 3 more players he feels Lincoln City need, and the club feel they need going into the new season. But what positions do Lincoln City need to strengthen? That's what I asked our match summariser, ex-imp Mark Home.
Yeah, maybe defensively, Rob. One more central midfielder. I know we've got a couple of youngsters that can probably play in there, but whether Mark Kennedy sees them as, the long-term solution, I don't know. So probably a central midfield player, I would suggest, and also maybe another central defensive player. So maybe 2 more for me, looking at what we've signed and what I think we probably need to strengthen slightly. So, yeah, 2 more for me, both in central midfield and central defence.
And with the players that Lincoln have brought in already, they're likely to be first team players playing regularly, but we know Lincoln have got a decent central defensive pair in terms of Paulie O'Connor. They've got Adam Jackson there. They've got options at the back. Do you think these players are more likely to come in not to challenge necessarily for a starting spot week in, week out?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously you've got Sean Rowan as well, who I think Mark Kennedy and we've sort of said is the left-sided centre half. So they've definitely got the 3 there. And I know we've got TJ Omer who can play across the back line, but has been kind of in and out really, and doesn't seem to be a first choice for Mark. So I just think maybe to cover that left-sided centre half option. I know we've obviously got Jaden Brown and obviously Sean Rowan in those areas. So maybe just that left sided is maybe something that he might want to look at. But certainly, defensively we look all right. I think if he goes with a 3 or he goes with a 4, depending on back 4 or a back 5, depending on how he wants to set up. He's got options there. But I just think we need to strengthen. Obviously, TJ Omer is a centre-half, right-sided centre-half, maybe, right wing-back. But like I say, just the left side just leaves a little bit short, I think, of cover. So maybe there. And like I say, just a central midfield player as well.
On the midfielders, there's lots of rumours going around at the moment with regards to players, and players that Lincoln are being linked with are attacking midfielders, goal-scoring midfielders. Do you think that's the type of central midfielder Lincoln need to bring in, bearing in mind what they've got at the moment with the likes of Alistair Smith and Ethan Arahan and Teddy Bishop?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you look at the numbers, Ethan's scoring a lot of goals. He's not that kind of player. As much as I really, really rate him, and I think he's class at League One level, he's not going to score you the 10 goals from midfield that you're looking for. Ali Smith, I think he maybe could chip in with 4 or 5. We've seen him, they're the numbers he's sort of getting at Sutton when he played for them. But obviously he's in a higher division. And Teddy Bishop, he could contribute more, but it's whether we can keep him fit enough to contribute more. So I do think an attacking midfielder that can get us into double figures goals-wise will obviously take the pressure of Tyler Walker, Ben House, Danny Mandreo, those sort of players that are higher up the pitch. So, I think a goal-scoring midfielder would be a real asset to this squad.
And we're edging ever closer now to the start of the season. We're not too many Saturdays away from it getting underway. What do you think Mark Kennedy will be looking at from his players from between now and that big kick-off on the 5th of August? Because the fitness work, although will continue, the majority of that would have been done, wouldn't it, by now?
Yeah, it's just game, match fitness. That's what he'll be looking for. Obviously they're monitored as well now, so they'll have all the fitness monitors going on. The fitness team will be making sure that they're getting enough, minutes into their legs for Saturday the 5th of August, which is when it's kick-off. So, it's about, absolutely match practice, but it's also about looking at systems and looking at patterns of play and what Mark Kennedy wants to see in his players. Is that player going to fit into that style of what he wants to happen? Or, it will be just patterns of play, looking at the system he wants to play. Do these players fit into that system? There might be some surprises. He may well feel that somebody who he didn't think was going to be in his first starting 11 may just be the person that comes from nowhere and goes, well, actually, he's had a really good pre-season. He's doing everything that's been asked of him. He's fitting into the system. He's fitting into the style of play I want. And then so it becomes quite difficult then for that player to be left out. So, I think there's still decisions to be made. I'm sure Mark will have a rough idea of what he already thinks will be a starting 11, but there might be 1 or 2 surprises. You never know. So the next few weeks, I think the games will intensify, and I think you'll see more and more players get more and more minutes. Probably the key players that he thinks are going to be starting on away at Bolton on that first game of the season. So, like I say, the Grimsby game coming up, the Rotherham game coming up, I think that you'll have more indication as to what he's thinking in those 2 games.
And on those relationships and partnerships between players and patterns of play, I talked to Danny Mandroyo after the Boston game and talked about the fact that although there has been change in the squad, the core of that team remains the same from last year, and the benefit of having that, of having 12 months together, how much of a benefit will that be going into that first game of the season compared to last year when Lincoln were heading into the first game, a lot of new players, a new manager, a new coaching staff, a new way of playing?
Yeah, I think just having 5, signed now and then all on permanent deals just tells you the kind of shift that the club have made in terms of what they're looking at with their recruitment. We had a lot of loan players, 1 or 2 permanent signings. So I do think, there's been a bedding down of we need to get permanent players. We need to make sure that we have continuity. And like Danny Mandreo says, the core of the players are still there, really. So, there's only fine-tuning with the new players to come in and to give them a little bit more time to settle. Yes, we need to strengthen still, but I think with the basis of what we had from last season, which Mark Kennedy's obviously identified and liked, and they're the players that he's retained, to then the 5 new ones that are going to be potential starters, I think it's a really strong squad. I think it's a very competitive squad. How far that'll take them, who knows? But certainly, I think the continuity has been good, and Mark Kennedy clearly seems to know what he wants from his players. and the players that he wasn't sure about have gone. So, this is his squad now. This is what he will be, I think, judged on over the next season. So, the pressure's on for Mark because, he's gone out and got these players. He's signed these players with the recruitment team. So time will tell. But no, certainly I think it's quite exciting. I kind of like the new players that he's brought in. So I think it's going to be, an entertaining, interesting season coming up.
The thoughts of our match summarising ex-Imps defender Mark Hone. It is 12 minutes to 3. It is BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Rob Makepeace with you for coverage of Lincoln City's game at Crewe this afternoon. It won't be the usual full match commentary service. That will resume on the 5th of August when Lincoln travel to Bolton Wanderers, but any of the key moments we will commentate on here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire, just to bring you up to date with regards to other Lincolnshire sports people in action today. Jack Harvey from Bassingham due to be in the IndyCar qualifying. That has been delayed because of rain. With it being an oval, they can't at the moment qualify on the oval with the dangerous nature of it. And news today as well, after he caused the first lap collision in last weekend's race at Toronto, he will have a 9-place grid penalty ahead of the race this evening. It is one of 2 races this weekend. The 2 teams are making their way out here at Gresty Road. Lincoln City in that new away kit, and Lincoln City's team today as well, as we just get handed the team sheets in front of us, is as follows. Lucas Jensen is in goal. We've got Lass Sorensen at right wing back, then the centre halves Paudie O'Connor, Adam Jackson and Sean Rowan, Jaden Brown the left wing back, Ethan Arahan and Teddy Bishop the 2 central midfielders, Danny Mandrew and Rico Hackett either side of Ben House. Up front on the bench, Alistair Smith, Oshin Gallagher, Jordan Wright, Dylan Duffy, Jay Ben and TJ Ioma. Delighted to say joining me alongside for the game for this afternoon is the man who's the one behind the signings, I guess. Not the one who does the signings, but the one who lets everybody know about the signings, communications manager Luke Thornhill. And Luke, great to have you with us. And a quiet week, no signings this week.
Yeah, it's been a quiet week. I don't think it'll be that quiet as the season gets closer. Next week, hoping we'll be busier. But it's a different kettle of fish being on this side of the microphone. Normally you see me, or people hear me with the interview questions when players sign. But yeah, thanks for the invite and having me up here.
Yeah, so we should talk about Lincoln's team today, because there is, again, it's a bizarre situation in pre-season. Usually we get a whole ream of subs. We've only got the 6 today, and that's mainly because the plan is for Mark Kennedy's side is it's almost a split team with regards to today and Grimsby on Tuesday.
Yeah, people may have seen the story we put out on the club website yesterday on social media. So basically the team that we see today, we expect to play 90 minutes, and this same team probably is what you'll see most likely against Rotherham next Saturday. Tuesday's probably more about topping up minutes. I'm sure that's what Mark will say when you ask him after the match. This, pre-season we want to get a great result story. We want to go to Grimsby and perform well against local rivals, but far more important is to make sure that the players get topped up, get the right minutes, and ready to go against Wickham in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, not too long to go now until we get the season underway. A fortnight today, which is not too far away at all, and the 2 teams just going through the usual pre-match of the coin toss and deciding where to go in terms of which way to line up. The Crewe team today: Harvey Davis, Rio Adebisi, Zach Williams, Charlie Colquitt, Corner O'Riordan, Luke Offord the captain, Chris Long, Jack Powell, Mateus Holicek, Shiloh Tracy and Joel Taberner, and they have a number of players on the bench, 9 in total, as we get ready to get this game finally underway. I'd say there's probably about 40 or so Lincoln City fans who've made the trip across from Lincolnshire today, sat opposite us in the ice cream van stand, which always makes me laugh here, and the fact that the sponsor of the stadium as well, Luke, is a cereal manufacturer which is just round the corner, and the fact they sell cereal in the club shop. I don't think I know any other club shop where that occurs.
I can't say that I saw anyone buying it either when I was in there.
No, it wasn't.
Looking at the shirts, but not the cereal. Ice cream, it's not a cold day, is it? I still don't quite fancy. A bit too cloudy for an ice cream for me, but maybe afterwards.
The game is underway, so we'll keep you up to date with regards to any chances or anything that happens, because, as we know, Luke, I said this last week, pre-season friendlies are usually quite boring, but last week there was goals galore.
Yeah, and last week, the first time that I can remember, certainly from pre-season, of the game stopped due to thunder and lightning. It came in really quickly, didn't it, during the match? Hopefully none of that today. It looks dark and overcast, but the rain that's been forecast seems to have cleared a little bit for the match.
And we'll let you know what's been going on as well with regards to the Ashes as well, because they have got play underway at Old Trafford. Australia currently 128 for 4, trailing by 147 runs. Lincoln City do have an early free kick here, just left of centre, midway inside the Crewe half, so maybe an early opportunity to get the opening goal. We'll let you know what's going on elsewhere with regards to the pre-season friendlies today. We talk about the weather. We've already had a game actually postponed today because of the weather. Gainsborough Trinity's game against Loughborough University, that has been postponed because of a waterlogged pitch. So it is an early chance for Lincoln here to get some of the centre halves forward. Adam Jackson, Sean Rowan, Paulie O'Connor. It's played short, in fact, to Ted Bishop, who does get the crossing, goes over everybody's head, and Lass Sorensen will pick it up, lining up at right wing back. He gets an early ball back into the box. Well, he tries to anyway. He got it into the box, Luke, but maybe didn't get the exact execution he would have liked there.
That was definitely on target. That was definitely a cross.
Yeah, you're classing that as a shot on target.
Probably not one that I want to look back on.
And now Crewe looking to break down the other way, but Chris Long has been called offside in the opening 2 minutes here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. It is Rob Makepeace and Luke Thornhill with you, bringing you the latest from Lincoln City's game here against Crewe. As I say, we will have the usual commentary, home and away, of Lincoln City throughout the season on BBC Radio Lincolnshire, both in the league, the cup, the FA Cup and the League Cup, and the EFL Trophy as well, in what will all get underway in a fortnight's time. And that's what we're starting to see now, Luke, especially. We're starting to see the tickets start to come out, and when you can get your away tickets, your away coaches, all those kind of things that you need as a supporter, just that information starting to make its way out.
Yeah, it's a really exciting but really busy time of the year, certainly for those of us down at the stadium. But yeah, it's great that we're now getting to our routine of getting information out. Suddenly Bolton is not too far away, is it? A couple of weeks' time. Notts County, which is a bit more affordable for fans, following shortly afterwards. But yeah, the excitement that fans feel, we certainly feel that in the club just as much.
Lincoln with an early corner here then, another chance to get the ball into the box from the right hand side. Adam Jackson, one of those players in there. Lincoln with a 3-man line of attackers, including Paulie O'Connor, Sean Rowan and Rico Hackett all over it. It's Ted Bishop who will be taking the corner. Danny Mandro just on the toes of the goalkeeper, Ben House also lurking. Jaden Brown, Lass Sorensen on the edge of the penalty area. The corner will come in from Ted Bishop, right-footed. It goes over everybody and is cleared away. It's going to be picked up by Lass Sorensen, who can just cushion the pass down into Bishop. Back to Sorensen once again, who now looks to move forward. Sorensen tries to help it back through to Rico Hackett, but it's well cut out by Crewe, and will go out of play for a throw. The away kit in use once again this weekend. It was used last week at Boston. Has gone down very well, I think, with supporters.
Yeah, record sales, and unanimously the feedback we've had has been how popular it's been. I particularly like the kind of warm-up shirts that they wear before the match as well. Saw that at Boston, saw that game today. Went on sale today, I believe, as well, and yeah, I'm sure they'll fly off the shelves. I'm a big fan of the away kit and the away kind of warm-up and walk-out stuff as well.
Yeah, it's certainly a very nice kit, and hopefully lots of people will be wearing that throughout the season. The one man who isn't wearing it today, who launched it, is Tyler Walker, and we heard from Jez George in the build-up to the game today. You'll be able to hear that interview on the Hope and Glory podcast as well, which will be available to download tonight. But certainly with Tyler, it's a very different pre-season build-up for him because of the fact he did miss the opening couple of weeks when he didn't have a club.
Yeah, and hopefully we got that across in our our signing stories and our signing copy. I'm sure everyone's focusing on the fact we signed Tyler Walker, which is very exciting for everyone involved. But yeah, he just needs that little bit more time, so we probably won't see him on Tuesday even, but maybe just maybe against Rotherham might get a few minutes off the bench, might be involved again.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing Tyler make that return in a Lincoln City shirt. I can tell you Spalding United have got into the lead at Stratford in that pre-season friendly there. We'll keep you up to date as the goals go in involving our local sides. And a reminder, we'll have coverage again next weekend of Lincoln City's final pre-season friendly, that home game against Rotherham United, set to be a really good test, that one. And again, Hope and Glory coming live from Sincil Bank next Saturday as Lincoln come forward down the right wing with Rico Hackett, who goes for the early ball into the box. Again, I think it was one of those probably hard to decide whether it was a cross or a shot, and now Crewe look to set Shiloh Tracy, the former Shrewsbury Town and Tottenham man, off down the right hand side. Adebisi now infield with Harahan, still with Crewe, 25 yards out. Challenge comes in well though from Ben House, and now maybe a chance for Lincoln to go on the attack with Danny Mandroiu. Nobody there with him, but Mandroiu holds onto the ball and then looks at the ball in behind for Ben House, but it's easily dealt with by Crewe, and they get possession back, and it remains 0-0, 6 minutes in, and I think that's a new scoreboard. I don't remember the clock being that bright there over in the far corner of the ground. I remember the traditional clock, which is in the far right hand corner, but I think the new scoreboard there from my last visit here, from memory.
Yeah, I didn't make it last year, unfortunately, so it's been a few years since my last trip, but it's always nice to have a nice big time and you can see clearly. know how long we've got to go. We do keep our phones going as backup, but it's nice to have a very nice, clear time so we don't get too confused.
Yeah, it certainly does help matters, especially as I found last week when I forgot to start it in the second half, and it was all of a sudden a real struggle. That's what pre-season's about, making mistakes like that. I always think making sure you're ready for the start of the season when it does get underway, which is, to say, is not too far away at all. 7 minutes into this game, Lincoln back in pre-season action on Tuesday night at Grimsby. Grimsby playing two of our sides over the next few days, so they play Lincoln City on Tuesday and then Boston United on Wednesday in pre-season friendly action, and then Lincoln with that final pre-season friendly next Saturday as they take on Rotherham United, as Lucas Jensen gets the ball forward and the offside flag has gone off against Rico Hackett, and we're going to have a Crewe free kick. One thing that the fans would have seen this week and would have heard on the Hope and Glory podcast is the safe standing which has been introduced at Sinsel. We heard from Damien Froggatt a little earlier on the show, the club's director of operations, and that's really exciting for that group in the upper 7, the 617, to have the club to have safe standing.
Yeah, we both took a little walk up, didn't we, up to upper 7 in that stand the other day after you spoke to Damien. We know that the fans that go in the area 617, they want stand-up matches. We think it's safe. We want to make it available for them to do so. Until this summer, technically they were breaking law when they did so. So it's a case of us covering, taking away that technicality, ensuring that fans can enjoy games how they want, and hopefully, you'll see just further enhancing the atmosphere in what is already, one of the better areas of the stadium in terms of that.
Yeah, certainly I'm going to walk through that GBM stand with the safe standing. There's been a fresh lick of paint, and I know the volunteers as well, which have been really helpful over the past week or so, just coming to help clean the seats, which is so important. It's a little thing, isn't it? But I always think when you turn up on open day, you don't want cobwebs or other things on your seat, do you? As Ben House, in fact, has dispossessed the Crewe man. We'll pick up that point in a moment. House plays it across goal and can't find Lars Sorensen. Glorious chance for Lincoln City to take the lead there. Ben House dispossessing his man, trying to play it across to Lars Sorensen, but just touching back on the volunteers point, you've had plenty of people around the ground this week just helping the club out.
Yeah, I think Damien worked out that we need something like 10,000 hours to get the stadium in shape for the start of the season. It's inevitable that during the summer that birds come in and out. We're not, the stadium's not in use as much. The seats aren't sat on. You can just imagine what state it can get if you don't counter it. So yeah, it's been a massive help. There's been dozens of people that have come in throughout the week, some every day, some just as and when they can make it, working around their lives, their jobs. It's really appreciated by all of us at the club. We have given them, we sorted out them dinner, got them pack up in a week and everything, but it makes such a difference for the fans that come down and want to help us out, as people do during the season as well. But just, it saves the club so much hours, so much money that we can hopefully then spend out on the pitch and other things that benefit supporters.
As Crewe look for their first attack of the game on the edge of the penalty area, now out wide on the left hand side with Zach Williams, tries to get the cross in. It comes to the edge of the area, shot will come in from Charlie Colquitt, cleared away but not fully by Lincoln, although it should be able to now. It's a lovely dinked ball out by Pordy O'Connor to Danny Mandroiu, who now looks to set Rico Hackett forward. Really nice first touch from Hackett, and here come Lincoln City with Brown playing it through the middle for Ben House, who looked onside. That was a really lovely piece of play from Lincoln City, from Pordy O'Connor, with the little dink out from the edge of his own penalty area, and within 4 passes Lincoln City were nearly through on goal there.
And that was close. It's not far out of line from where I'm sat. I I'm a little biased, to be honest, but I don't think he was. That's certainly touch and go. And we've got Logan Ellis to my left, so I'll certainly be looking over his shoulder just to see how it went. But yeah, that was very tight.
Yeah, that was really close, that one, wasn't it? That was a really good passage of play from Lincoln City early on. We're nearly 11 minutes in here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. It's Rob Makepeace and Lincoln City's communications manager Luke Thornhill joining us this afternoon. We'll have another guest with us next week, or with Michael Horton next week, who's back off his holidays, and bringing you coverage of that final pre-season friendly with the Imps against Rotherham United. Latest in the Ashes. Australia 132 for 4 at the moment. Again, play continuing at the moment. Keep an eye on the weather there as Sean Rowan wins a free kick. I think the free kick actually was given for the offside decision, but either way it goes Lincoln City's way, and it is a chance now to get the ball forward. News today as well with regards to one player leaving the football club. Hayden Cann gets a move and a chance to play at a step higher than he did last year at National League North now.
Yeah, it's a great development for Hayden. He's a great young lad. Obviously went to Lincoln United, then Gainsborough Trinity last season. I heard you talk to Jez earlier. There was maybe mixed results last year with some of these loans, but it's a great chance for Hayden to go test himself at that level, and comes back. He'll still be 19, I think, next summer. If he's proven at National League North level, he's got a really good chance to go on and either with us or certainly at kind of a higher level than he was at this season. Just continues development, so it's a great opportunity for him. After going off to work hard, just be in that men's environment week in, week out. It's a big step up for him, but he's got every chance, and wish him well.
Did hear a registration number there that I did think was mine for a second, so that was a bit of a mild panic, because I heard the engine was still running, but I've got the keys with me, so that's the main thing, so we should be alright. But yeah, it is one of those situations. But no, good to see Hayden Cann. We'll follow his progress at Peterborough Sports this season. He'll come up against Boston United this year. As I can tell you, the latest in pre-season action, as you're not missing anything on the pitch, it is Stratford 1, Spalding 1. Spalding levelling, Stratford levelling there in the last couple of minutes after Spalding scored early doors. Keep an eye on any other goals as they go in with regards to the pre-season friendlies involving our local sides, including Boston United, who are taking on Notts County, one of Lincoln City's opponents, both in the League Cup, which is coming up very shortly, and also the EFL Trophy. In the way the regions work, Lincoln have got Notts County this year.
Yeah, it's a competition that we know well. Obviously did really well in it a couple of years ago. It's a great opportunity for clubs. I know fans have got mixed views on the competition, but in terms of prize money, it's one of the most effective for us. So, a good run in their Checker Trade Trophy brings the most reward for us as a club in terms of prize money. Obviously, you want to do well in every competition you enter, but last year in the Carabao Cup was probably the least rewarding financially that we could have gone on for a cup run for, which was a fantastic experience. But yeah, the EFL Trophy for the accounting team, Pete Mellor as a Director of Finance would much rather we go for a great run in that. If he could only have one run, obviously wants to win every game that we have.
14 minutes in. It is still goalless here between Crewe and Lincoln City. We'll get post-match reaction between 5 and 6 with Mark Kennedy, one of the City players, as well. And interesting having the analyst next to you, Luke. He's having a conversation with somebody down on the bench, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, so normally he's plugged into Danny Butterfield, the assistant manager. They can talk about positioning. They can look back for tight offside calls, all those kind of things. But really, kind of the reason they've got that contact is so that if you look at the back three or the back five, wherever they want them to be, if you think someone's just a few yards the wrong way, they can fix that in real time as well. Which is, for now, it's just about practice, getting used to it. But when it's a competitive match, you want to solve that straight away. Don't you want to solve that in the first 5 minutes of a match if someone's just slightly out of sync.
As Jaden Brown goes down in the area, felt he should have had a penalty, but decision went against him for handball. Play continuing. Brown part of that Sheffield Wednesday side who were promoted last year. Crewe give the ball straight back to Lass Sorensen, who then gives the ball straight back to Crewe. With 15 minutes on the clock at the moment. It is still Crewe 0, Lincoln City 0. We've not really had any amazing chances. Just the one opportunity which Ben House tried to put across for Lass Sorensen to tap in, but it was well cut out by Harvey Davis in the Crewe goal. Away from that, there's been very little in terms of opportunities for either side at the moment. Crewe in League Two again this season. Certainly a side Lincoln did caught against at the start of their League One tenure, but Crewe back now in League Two, led by Lee Bell, who is here as a first team coach before being made manager. Not too many familiar names in their matchday squad at the moment, as the ball goes out of play for a Lincoln City throw, which Jaden Brown will take, and Sean Rowan now has in possession. And had a little joke off air, didn't we, with Jez George, the club's director of football, about Lincoln signings this year. The majority of them haven't been guessed or worked out before they get announced, and that's, I guess that's quite difficult at times, isn't it, when you've got a player hanging around, whether that's the club stadium, the training ground, or whatever it may be, and him being spotted, especially with Lincoln being such a small city.
Yeah, we've been quite proud that we've kept a lot of these out of the websites and fans forums, those kind of things. The biggest fear, of course, is that a name gets out and a deal doesn't then take place. We want to protect, make sure we get the deal, but we try to keep things tight. We're not the source of any leak, but agents sometimes have different aims, and that's not necessarily to try to stop a deal or to do anything like that, but if they think they've got a deal completed and there's a chance to try and get an extra couple of quid a week elsewhere or try to increase their bonus, you can't blame them for trying, to be honest. So we do work quite hard to make sure that we keep, if we need to keep the information tight. I was quite pleased with the Tyler Walker reveal. Managed to tie it in with the away shirt launch, and hopefully, I think that name may have got out there in the last 40 minutes or so before we actually announced, but only at the very last minute. Hopefully fans appreciated a little subterfuge of hinting at the away kit reveal, I should say, and then there's our new centre forward in there as well.
And when it comes to a new signing, as a communications team, when do you first get an idea that something's going to happen, there's going to be something to announce?
It varies depending on the deal. It's certainly, we know summer in planning, and certainly for a big one like Tyler, works with some of the more senior team, just to make sure we're aware and ready to go with it. So we plan from the start of the week. We do reach out with people like Kieran, member of our comms team, Mr. Wright. When we get that, we plan how we would do that, how we would reveal it. Tyler was a bit of a special circumstance for us because we could do that reveal without needing to hint and explain to people who it was. People knew instantly who it was. But yeah, it really varies signing by signing. Sometimes we know weeks in advance as to who the targets are. Sometimes we find out at very short notice, and football can change very quickly.
Corner for Crewe coming in, easily gathered by Lucas Jensen. And I guess, do people at the club want to know what the reaction is from supporters when a signing gets announced, and they want to know the instant feedback from fans on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe not instant, but I certainly do get asked by, whether it's by Jez or it's by Mark Kennedy, the head coach, as to just how fans have taken to certain signings, to how they view certain players. But certainly when it's when it was something like Tyler, there was an expectation that fans would be delighted by it, and I think it's fair to say that fans absolutely were.
They certainly were, and as you say, we'll hopefully see Tyler maybe next week against Rotherham, but over the next couple of years we will see a lot of Tyler Walker playing in that red and white stripes of Lincoln City. I can tell you elsewhere in pre-season action, Spalding United are now 2-1 down against Stratford, having led in that game. Here it is still goalless between Crewe and Lincoln City, as Crewe now look to make their way forward down the left wing. Challenge comes in from Rico Hackett, continuing to fight for the ball, the former Portsmouth man. But Crewe have come away with possession and go back to their captain, Luke Offord. The main stand here at Crewe, probably about a third full. Everybody's spreading themselves out. It's their last home pre-season friendly ahead of the new League Two season, as Tracy tries to work the 1-2. Brown tries to help him out and shove him out of the way, but Lincoln are able to clear it away. But it's with Crewe once again. Calls to shoot. It was a shot, wasn't the best one, from the left back Zach Williams, and now Lincoln may be looking to counter attack, but Rico Hackett's ball was a poor one. It's given straight back to Crewe, and then Hackett in with a challenge. It was a fair challenge, and Mattis Holacek probably doesn't feel that way, but referee says it was a good challenge from Rico Hackett. And I think the one thing to notice, even last week against Boston, even from maybe 5-6 years ago, there seems to be more of a competitive edge, I think, to friendlies over the last few years than we've seen in previous years. Before, you'd hardly see a tackle get put in, whereas now there is a real feel that a lot of these games are played, maybe not at full pelt in terms of the end-to-end football we're used to, but certainly there's a lot of effort being put in.
Yeah, it's not quite what you're going to see at Bolton against Wickham in a few weeks' time. Certainly, I remember Grimsby Way last year was very competitive. Lots of tackles flying in. Obviously, the home crowd there get behind it in a bit of a derby match. So I'm sure that'll be the same on Tuesday as well. But yeah, I think the first team coach staff would say it's a bit of a pointless exercise if you're not getting that bit of edge to it. The early friendlies are about fitness, about making sure people get their 45 minutes or their 60 minutes, and while obviously that is still the main focus, they want it to be a worthwhile 90 minutes. So if you just wanted to run around for 90 minutes, they could do it at the EPC. We could always save ourselves a 5-hour round trip, and we could be in Lincolnshire, we could be home we could be home for tea. But yeah, there's certainly an edge to these games. This match hasn't really kicked into gear, has it? It's still very low key, but there's they're not letting players walk straight past them.
Yeah, 21 and a half minutes in, we've certainly not had plenty of goalmouth opportunities at the moment. It remains goalless between Crewe and Lincoln City as O'Connor cuts out the forward ball for the Imps. Hackett now 25 yards out from goal, just turns back, finds Bishop. Now Arahan just steps back, gives himself a little bit of space, passes it low along the ground to the left hand side to Brown. Arahan now works it forward for Danny Mandroiu. Good neat piece of play. Mandroiu just slips as he goes to put the cross in, and the offside flag has gone up once again against Lincoln City. This happened early doors against Benhouse, and it will be a free kick for Crewe. A reminder that we won't be doing commentaries of these pre-season friendlies because, for the fact, Luke, we've had very little happen, which is it would have been a very difficult 23 minutes to fill if we'd have had to commentate on this. But the deal in terms of commentaries that'll start once again on the 5th of August for that game at Bolton. Michael Horted and Mark Cohn will be getting you underway for the start of the new season. Hope and Glory podcast also will be available each week, Thursday nights at 7, and post-match, of course, as well. Bonus episodes for you during pre-season as we get ready for the big kick-off. And we'll also have commentary this year of Boston United once again home and away in National League North, the FA Cup and the FA Trophy. They get underway against Buxton again in the National League North on the 5th of August. Boston at the moment taking on Notts County of League 2, another EFL side for them to face, and at the moment it is goalless midway through the first half there, as well as Benhouse steps in and wins back possession for Lincoln City. Bishop now forward to Rico Hackett, but he's dispossessed. It's an early chance now for Crewe, but the poor ball forward from the captain Luke Offord couldn't find Chris Long, the former Burnley striker, and it easily runs through to Lucas Jensen in the Lincoln City goal. Ethan Arahan in possession at the moment. Now Jaden Brown looking to get Lincoln on the attack down the left hand side with Danny Mandroiu. Tries to find it back to Brown, and again it's easily cut out by Crewe, and now they look to come forward, and Brown steps in and wins back possession. Jack Powell wanted a free kick there, nothing given. Mandroiu lines up the shot from a long way out, and that's going to be a gather for Harvey Davis in the Crewe goal, and I think that's probably our first real official Lincoln City shot on target.
It's nice to have a real shot to talk about, isn't it? Great, real power behind Danny's shot. Just had it been a bit either side of the goalkeeper, he might have broken a sweat, but pretty routine save, wasn't it? And all things told by Davis.
It remains 0-0, coming up to 25 minutes. In Ekatoy Grantham Town have taken the lead at Kimberley Miners Welfare by a goal to 0 in pre-season action as well. And at Market Raisin today, it is their big meeting. It is the Summer Plate, and in the Summer Plate handicap chase, Born Famous has won in the last few minutes. So that's what's been going on at Market Raisin today. Big crowds expected for the big meeting of the summer. Crewe currently in possession deep inside their own half, now just going out to their left, which is in front of those Lincoln City fans who have made the trip today. Fair play to them, making the trip in pre-season. Maybe a chance to tick a ground off the list. Always easier to do in pre-season because you always come up against teams you don't face in a league season, or majority of teams you don't face in a league season unless you get drawn against them in a cup or something like that.
Yeah, and fair play to these guys. It's not the best day weather-wise, is it? It's been it was sort of quite wet as we left Lincolnshire this morning. Very easy to think, let's just stay at home.
Yeah.
Listen to the radio, listen to these guys that have to be there. So yeah, absolutely fair play. The equivalent to them to be here is pretty impressive.
Yeah, doing already starting to support Lincoln in pre-season ahead of the new season getting underway. As here come Crewe down the right with Shiloh Tracy, looking to create a bit of space for himself. Goes back to Adebisi, the right back for Crewe, working in a triangle at the moment. The home side from League Two. Tracy tries to work the 1-2, but Arahan cuts that out. And Hackett as well there to help Lincoln City get forward, which they take their time doing. I can tell you elsewhere in pre-season action, Stamford have taken the lead by a 1-0, taking on Peterborough Sports today. Not sure if Hayden Cann is making an appearance for Peterborough Sports today, after the move he made earlier on today, signing that new contract and then joining them on a season-long loan. I'll have a quick look as we look through the teams. I can tell you how Hayden Cann is playing. So first start for Hayden Cann in a Peterborough Sports shirt at Stamford. Elsewhere today, as well as the Ashes going on, we'll keep you up to date with what's going on there. But at the Open Golf, we were there about 45 minutes ago for the build-up to the leaders heading out on course. It was just about to get underway, but Crewe are forward here with Chris Long, plays it into the area. O'Connor heads it out only to the left-hand corner of the area. Ball played back into the box. Jackson clears it away. First real moment of danger for the Imps. But at the golf, John Rahm continues to make his move. He's 8 under for today. He's just finished his round 8 under for today. Leaves him 6 under for the tournament. Only 4 shots off the overnight leader, Brian Harmon, who gets his round underway very shortly with Tommy Fleetwood. Also Nikolai Højgaard of Denmark as well is making moves. He's 3 under after 8, leaving him 4 under for the tournament. As we can see a Lincoln City injury. I think it's Rico Hackett who's just gone down here, Luke.
Yeah, I didn't see exactly what happened. You don't want to take any gambles, especially in pre-season. So it's an opportunity for everyone to take players take a drinks break, and make sure he's checked out okay.
Yeah, hopefully Rico Hackett is okay, because again, touch wood, Lincoln have had a really good pre-season with regards to picking up lack of picking up injuries. Really, that usually you get 2 or 3 players, but we only had that short spell for Teddy Bishop, a short spell for Adam Jackson. Away from that, we've pretty much been available all the way through.
Well, if it changes now, I know to blame for jinxing it. Thanks, Rob. But no, I mean, it looks okay. I don't think it's anything serious. To just check him out and be fit to play. But yeah, absolute full credit to the medical and sports science team. I know Mark's been keen to praise them when he's chatting to you guys, but we saw that last year with the work that was put in, the programme set by Ross Burberry, that really set them up for the season. So we're kind of really following that model. Work in pre-season sets them up, gets them robust, gets them ready, and when the tougher challenges come in thick and fast, when the games come in thick and fast when the season starts, hopefully they're ready to face it.
Yeah, Rico Hackett back on his feet and ready to come back on, which is good to see. As we're just around the half-hour mark, and we're just waiting to get that game back underway. And the game is back underway. Adebisi throws it back into play to his centre-half Conor Riordan, and we are back underway with the score goalless here between Crewe and Lincoln City in this pre-season friendly. Just a couple of friendlies left to go for Lincoln City, as we mentioned, against Grimsby. And against Championship side Rotherham United will have coverage of the game at Rotherham, the game at home against Rotherham, next Saturday afternoon here on Hope and Glory on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. Seen today as well, we've had the Women's World Cup with England's victory, but some of the girls from the lower age groups, part of the foundation, have been down at the ground watching the game today. There's been some nice videos going up on social media today. I've seen of a lot of clubs in Lincolnshire have been engaging with this.
Yeah, so this is a Lincolnshire FA scheme that we took part in. I know a few other clubs across Lincolnshire took part in it as well. We certainly did. Great to see the girls going down, watching taking part in a training session outside. I'm not sure how well, the girls will look forward to that, given it was raining when we left.
Yeah.
But there was certainly an opportunity for them. But yeah, women's football, we saw it last year with the Euros. There's real growth in it. We capitalised on that by getting more than 1,000 people down for the game against Donny Bells. Hopefully we'll see a couple of Lincoln women games at the Alexandra Stadium again this season. Hopefully one nice and early in the tournament, nice and early in the season I should say, to capitalise on this World Cup tournament. Yeah, it's a real growth area in the county, across the country, and across the planet in fairness. But certainly in Lincolnshire there's real growth there. It's very competitive. There's a bit of a rivalry between Lincoln City and Lincoln United, which is great to see. Lincoln United were on top of that in the County Cup last year, but hopefully that can be reversed this season and going forward. But yeah, that little rivalry and that little competitive spirit is really great to see, because in years gone by there probably just wasn't that depth of the game around. So really proud, in fairness, that Lincoln City's have played a part in that, and hopefully we'll continue to just grow and see much more growth for Lincoln City women and the women's game in general in Lincolnshire.
Yeah, really good to see the girls down at the ground today, and I think Lincoln City women were down at the ground earlier on this week having a pre-season photo shoot with the kit as well, getting ready for that.
Yeah, photo shoot day was Tuesday. The girls love that. They're a lot easier to manage than the men's team. That's my experience as a comms manager with the men's team. They know they have to be there. They know they have to do it. It can be, I won't say it's a chore, but they're going through it, got get it out of the way. Whereas for the girls, they've all got normal jobs, so all given the time coming down, and so they're really excited that we're looking to push them and looking to give them the same kind of profile as the men's team. So yeah, really exciting for the women's team. Hopefully that kind of the photo shoot graphics you'll see reflected in our social media going forward, just stepping up, looking a little bit more like the men's team's social media graphics this year. That's kind of the aim behind that. But yeah, the girls were great. We're really all about trying to raise their profile so that when we do get a game at the Alexandra Stadium, and again, hopefully that could be one of the early ones in the season, August, September, we can get another good crowd and put on a bit of a show for the fans.
You're not missing any of the action, because we've had another stoppage, and we talked about injuries. Well, Crewe look like they've picked up an injury. Looks like it's Chris Long who's had to come off, and he's going to be replaced by Lewis Billington. So a change for Crewe, just half an hour in. He's making his way back down the tunnel on his own, so probably looks like one of those that's a precautionary change for Crewe. But nevertheless, the game is now back underway with 12 minutes to play until half time. Kieran Walker, the club's physio, just having a chat with Mark Kennedy, I think probably updating him on the problem for Rico Hackett. I don't want to take any risks with players being so close to the start of the new season. And Crewe with an early chance now after the restart to get forward with Adebisi. Cuts inside Rowan, goes for the shot, and Lucas Jensen had to get a touch on it. Referee in the end gives the corner. The linesman originally had given a goal kick, but that was a really important touch that from Lucas Jensen. Otherwise that looked like it was going to probably just nestle in the bottom corner.
Yeah, I mean, you look like you had it covered, but you've got to be aware and on your toes and scramble down quickly. But yeah, it's a long way down when you're 6'8" as well to get down to those bottom corners, so you've got to get down quickly. Yeah, I think Lucas would be disappointed that it crept in, but got down well.
So it will be a corner for Crewe. They've taken it short into Powell, tries to work it back now to the edge of the penalty area. Ball crossed back in towards the far post, headed away by Porty O'Connor for Lincoln. Sorensen trying to get there in front of Tracy, but Charlotte Tracy gets hold of it to Adebisi, the right back and right winger out on the left hand side. Is now a late challenge in on Lass Sorensen, who is down. No real aftermath of that. Looks like Sorensen should be okay to continue. And the referee, I think, is is he going to book the player here? I've seen a number of red cards in pre-season this year. Maybe there's a directive from the referees, a bit like you would for the players. No, he's not going to book him, but certainly seems to be a few more cards flying about in pre-season. I saw somebody get sent off for 2 yellows the other day in pre-season. The referee seems to have had a bit more of a directive to try and treat their job more like you would in a normal season.
Possibly, I guess it's their pre-season as well, isn't it? But they're trying to get ready for the season, trying to get into routine. I think that'd have been harsh had he been booked for that tackle on Lass, but yeah, you don't really want to see it in pre-season. You don't want to see players sent off. You want to give something for the fans that have made the effort to come across for the games.
So everybody's okay, and we are back underway with Crewe in possession with 10 minutes to go until we reach half time. As you say, we're expecting the majority of these Lincoln City players, if not all of them, to last the full 90 minutes. The bench today: Alistair Smith, Oshin Gallagher, Jordan Wright, Dylan Duffy, Jay Ben, and TJ Ioma. The big question, of course, Luke, will be for those supporters who are buying the new shirts: is when can we confirm what numbers will be whose and how we can get them on the back of our shirts, and when we can get them on the back of the shirts?
Well, you can avoid that just by getting 90 and a Walker to start with. I think we were pretty clear as to what squad number he will be having. Yeah, I mean, some of the numbers that the lads are wearing now will probably stay the same. Some perhaps not. I'm not quite sure. We've had, I think Hayden Cannell's in number 4. We've obviously gone to Peterborough Sports early in the pre-season, so I imagine it'll be in that week before that first game when it's fully confirmed. We'll get all out there, as well as confirming who will be the captain and all those things that we need to tick off and make sure that fans are fully aware before the season starts.
Yeah, I think Paulie O'Connor probably is fancying his chances at the moment. He's been leading the calls to be captain, I think, with his displays last season, and being on the having the captain's armband for the last 2 Saturdays from memory. I think he was captain last Saturday as well. So yeah, we'll wait and see with regards to that, who is going to be Lincoln City's new captain after Regan Poole moved on to Portsmouth. We'll bring you that news here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire when we get it, as well as Lincoln looking to start an attack, but Ted Bishop nearly puts it behind Paulie O'Connor. Just had to backtrack a couple of steps and play it back in for Lucas Janssen. Play continuing at Old Trafford in the Ashes. 147 for 4, Australia trailing by 128 runs, and the leaders in terms of the Open Golf just about to get out on course as well. Brian Harmon, the overnight leader, as long ball forward. Rico Hackett tries to get there. Goalkeeper comes well out of his area and chest it, and then clears it away. A decent chance that was for Lincoln City. The ball played directly straight down the middle for Rico Hackett. Ball back now with Sean Rowan, looking up, looking for an option. Looks to find the run of Hackett once again, this time down the left wing. Played it back into Mandroiu, trying to get a ball early into the box for Bishop, but it's cut out by Crewe's defence. Brown tries to win it back and does for Lincoln City. Done that a number of times today, backtracking and able to just steal the ball off the toes of the Crewe players. As Sean Rowan has it once again for Lincoln City. So latest in pre-season action, 0-0 here between Crewe and Lincoln. Also 0-0 at the Jatemans Community Stadium between Boston United and Notts County. Spalding United 2-1 down at Stratford. Grantham Town are leading 1-0 against Kimberley Miners. Welfare and Stamford through Joe Burgess are 1-0 up against Peterborough Sports. Gainsborough Trinity's game today against Loughborough Students was postponed because of a waterlogged pitch. Crewe coming forward with Adebisi, wins the 50-50 with Rowan, hits it with the outside of his left foot. There's a chance here, it's deflected wide. There was 2 players going for it, and it was Matas Holicek who took it off the toes of his teammate coming in at the far post, and probably should have left it for his teammate, who looked like he was going to have an easy chance on goal there, Luke.
I was kind of fearful it's sort of chance that just kind of bobbles in, doesn't it, while people are just left that flood, not quite sure where to go. But yeah, you know, probably their clearest chance apart from the one that Lucas tipped around the post.
Yeah, decent opportunity that for Crewe, their second corner then of the afternoon, with 6 minutes to go until half time. Remains 0-0 here, but Crewe with the chance to get players forward. Lincoln bringing everybody back. Danny Mandroiu just hanging on the edge of the Lincoln penalty area. He's Lincoln's furthest player forward, in fact. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinging corner here for Crewe, headed away by Ben House. It's picked up though by the home side. Go all the way back to the halfway line for the number 6, Luke Offord. He looks to switch play out. It's a really good ball out to the left-hand side. And now the cross will come in for Crewe, and it's bounced up, and it's Lucas Jensen who doesn't get hold of it at the first attempt, but does it the second. Difficult ball, bounced up right up into his chest, and Lincoln got away with that. But certainly that right to left ball from Crewe's number 6, Luke Offord, was sensational.
Yeah, they kind of come into the game a little bit. I think the Crewe got some nice passing moves, that traditional Crewe kind of play you expect, but again, nothing really to test Lucas yet.
No, remains 0-0. Just really the one true save for Lucas Jensen to make. The Crewe goalkeeper Harvey Davis just cutting out a cross from Ben House, a low ball along the ground, has been really the only chances we've seen in this match so far here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. As Rico Hackett is feeling he's fouled, referee says no, and Tracy looks to send it forward, and Adam Jackson clears it away and out of play for a Crewe throw. But yeah, certainly we've not seen much of an attacking intent from either side in terms of shots on goal. We've seen some good forward play from Lincoln especially, but not the chances on goal.
Yeah, but we all know that the goals are the hardest part to create. It's the decisive part of the game. If you get that right, job's good. But I'm sure that Mark Kennedy and Lee Bell, the Crewe manager, will be reasonably content with maybe not current performance, but just the minutes in the legs, which is the main aim of this match for them.
Here come Crewe into the penalty area now with Joel Tabernet. He's been forced out to their left wing. Hackett and Sorensen are there. Will go out of play for a Crewe throw. And there we go, the use of an advertising on the scoreboard there. Ice cream vans are built in Crewe. That's why it's the ice cream van stand.
It's suddenly making sense.
That's what I've always wondered. Yeah, that's why.
Breakfast, cereal and ice cream.
Who knew ice cream vans were built in Crewe? Fact of the day, that is. There you go. So, learn something new. It is a throw for Crewe with 3 minutes to go until half time, as you can imagine. The fact we're talking about the ice cream vans means the game has been pretty dull so far. The cross comes in now. Tracy can't get his head on it. Cleared away by Lincoln City. It's back out on the left hand side though for Crewe, in towards the edge of the penalty area. Charlo Tracy has it. Lincoln chasing after it. I think that was one of the Crewe players' shin pads which has come flying out of his socks there as he was running. The number 4 Charlie Colkett just having to, well, in fact he's chucked him off to the side now. Obviously thinking he'll sort that out at half time with just a couple of minutes to go. Crewe on the attack once again now though. Tracy who's taking up a more central position for Crewe since the substitution of Chris Long. Looking to get on the ball as Ben House wins it back for Lincoln City on the halfway line. Now to Bishop. Mandroyo, lovely touch inside. Passes it out to the run of Sorensen down the right. Just having to sprint to keep it in play, but now he's got time to look up. Passes it back into Mandroyo. Lincoln 30 yards out from goal. Finding Rico Hackett. Just can't get it under his spell, under his control. And again, Crewe are able to come forward as Ethan Orion slides in for the challenge, but once again, as now the Crewe man is being told he needs to put his shin pads back on. It's been some good attacking intent from Lincoln City. Again, just the final pass not there at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know why Charlie Clockett thought he could play without shin pads in an actual match. No. It's not a training session. It might feel like it at times, but it's an actual match. But yeah, manners from him. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of good play in there. Lots of passing moves, those little triangles that Mark, the head coach, really likes. So there's lots of good movement there from both sides, in fairness. But yeah, the problem with it is that scoring is always the hardest bit to beat, and you've got several players there trying to stop you do it as well. So not far off.
No, some nice passages of play certainly so far from the Imps. It's not the ease of last week where they were scoring with every opportunity on goal away at Boston. As the ball is with Crewe out on the left hand side. They want to get Colkett back on. He's got his shin pads available. The referee's taking no note, despite the only chant you can hear is of the referee. Now the referee is going to allow Charlie Colkett to come back on. The ironic round of applause there from the home supporters who are around us. I can tell you Grantham now level against Kimberley Miners Welfare. The home side equalising with 5 minutes to go until half time, and elsewhere half time it is Boston United 0, Notts County 0 at the moment at the Jakeman's Community Stadium. We'll let you know as any goals go in there throughout the afternoon, and hopefully we'll get some goals here as well. But at the moment both sides keeping it pretty tight at the back. I think it's always difficult, isn't it, Luke? What do you want as a manager? Do you want to show some good attacking intent, or do you want to keep a clean sheet? It's the difficulty. You want, of course, you want both, but which one's the preferable one?
Yeah, Mark's not going to pick and choose. He's going to say he wants both, isn't he? But I think certainly for those fans, there's a decent number over there in the ice cream van stand that have made a trip across. You want to see some attacking intent, don't you? You want to see some goals. You can certainly in pre-season you can live, as a fan at least, you can live with conceding a couple if you've gone out and scored a few as well.
So there we go. We are at half time with the score goalless. Very little going on in terms of attacking intent from either side. Lincoln City with some good attacking play without maybe having that final touch. As for Crewe, they forced one decent save out of Lucas Jensen, who had to tip it low down the past the right hand post from a shot from outside the penalty area. Away from that though, there hasn't been a lot when it comes to attacking threat from either team. We'll run through the half-time scores with regards to our other local teams next here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. We'll have second half coverage of Lincoln City's game here at Crewe, goalless at the break. I can tell you elsewhere locally in terms of our pre-season friendlies, goalless between Boston United and Notts County as well. Stamford lead 2-0 against Peterborough Sports. Grantham Town drawing 1-0 with Kimberley Miners Welfare, and Spalding are 2-1 down at Stratford. And that is the latest in terms of the local games this afternoon. Talking of red cards in pre-season friendlies, I can tell you that Exeter have had a player sent off in their game against Torquay in what's been described as a heated game. So Exeter are down to 10 men in their pre-season friendly with Torquay. We were talking a bit earlier on about referees starting to show more red yellow cards in friendlies, and that's certainly the case in that game. Exeter 2-0 down and down to 10 men in that game there. I can tell you also with regards to ex-Imps that the former Imps loanee Mide Shadipo is currently on loan at Reading. They're taking on Southampton today, and he has been named as one of the trialists on the bench today. Still awaiting both teams to make their way out for the second half. Means can update you what's going on in the big major events, sporting events in the world today. In the Ashes, Australia 161 for 4, trailing by 114 runs. England not able to make a breakthrough so far in the opening hour and a quarter or so of today's play. And at the Open Golf, Brian Harman has dropped a shot in already. He's 9 under for the tournament. John Rahm and Tommy Fleetwood, who's already 1 under after 2 holes on 6 under par. Rory McIlroy making big moves as well. He's 3 under through 7, leaving him 4 under for the tournament. So quite a lot of movement with regards to those players in the early stages of round 3 as the overnight leaders now out on course. We'll keep up to date with what's going on there throughout the afternoon. As I say, we're still awaiting the two teams here between Crewe and Lincoln, so let's have some more music on Hope and Glory. Lewis Capaldi on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. The two teams have made their way out for the second half. Crewe and Lincoln City. Lincoln have made a half-time substitution. Rico Hackett, who did go down injured in that first 45 minutes, he's come off at half-time and has been replaced by Alistair Smith, so probably a slight change in position for Ted Bishop as well going forward. Rob Makepeace and alongside me the club's communications manager Luke Thornhill, and we'll probably see Ted Bishop play that wide right position, I would imagine, going forward.
Yeah, we know that's where he plays really well there, really effective in that attacking sense. He can play in lots of positions, right back, holding midfielder, but that attacking play is where he can really excel, especially in a friendly where there's not too much pressure on him, just to go express himself, hopefully get a nice ball in for Housey.
So yeah, we have got the second half underway. Smith on for Rico Hackett at the start of this second half. If you are just joining in, it is goalless. We'll have post-match reaction between 5 and 6 as well, with Lincoln having an early throw on their attacking right, chance possibly to get the ball in the box. Looks like it's going to be a long throw as well for Lasse Sorensen to get into the area. Just wiping his hands on his shorts, making sure there's no slipping. as the throw does come in. Well, we gave him the big build, but it wasn't the longest of throw, but it comes back out to him. And Sorensen will try and play it in once again. Not the greatest of clearances. Mandroyu with the effort. That's got a big deflection on it, and has spun behind for a Lincoln City corner. There'll be a chance for Bishop to put the ball into the box for City early on in this second 45 minutes. So Bishop with the right-footed out, swinging corner for the Imps. Plays it in towards the near post, again cleared away. That will go out for a throw for Lincoln. Good positive start at the opening couple of minutes of this second half. And Sorensen lining up the long throw once again. Adam Jackson remaining forward. Paulie O'Connor, Sean Rowan also remaining forward. As Sorensen goes to put in the long throw. O'Connor goes to flick it on. Plays it back inside the penalty area. Lovely touch from Ben House. Adam Jackson was in there as well, looking for it, and Jackson's gone down. Looks like he got caught maybe on the shin by the goalkeeper, Harvey Davis, but he's back on his feet and he's okay to continue. But good early start, early pressure there.
Yeah, it's always good to see. Dame's ball in, start from last year's throw in, and all it takes is a lucky bounce, deflection, and all of a sudden we're 1-0 up.
Yeah, Lincoln starting this second half off well. Luke with us from the communications team here at Lincoln City, and obviously there'll be lots of questions going into the new season of changes, whether it's changes off the pitch with regards to the stands, whether it's to do with what's happening with the programme, what's happening when kits are going to be unveiled, when will stuff be on sale, when does all that information get decided, and will it all get decided before Bolton on the 5th?
I knew I wasn't going to sit here for 90 minutes like you asking me if there's going to be a programme next season, Rob. That was inevitable. We should have something to say this week on that. So we had a good meeting. I do some presentations to the board about what a post-programme world could look like for us. I think people that have been paying attention to supporters board minutes and board minutes have probably read between the lines that there probably won't be a programme next season. So we're looking at what we could do that would come in and take its place. We know that fans want to keep a memento from games, so we're looking at what we could do with the team sheet, how we could maybe bolster that, make it a little bit more substantial product, offer a little bit more value to supporters for that. Also that, sadly with match day programmes, for the amount of time that we spent on it, we just didn't get enough sales. We're down to 250 odd for some games, so we're looking at products that we think fans might have more of a market. Maybe hitting the Christmas market, that kind of world. So we'll have some news for that in the next couple of weeks. But I'm excited about what we could produce and kind of look at the options that the board are kind of keen on. I think could be some of the best printed products that the football club have done, possibly ever.
Which we look forward, so we'll keep an eye on news with regards to that. And that's again, it's interesting, is it, with regards to, as we'll talk on that point in a moment as Lincoln try and get forward, but the supporters board, the group that was set up quite a few years ago, but obviously having a huge say on big parts of the football club that would affect supporters on a day-to-day basis or a match-by-match basis.
Yeah, and we have lots of conversations with members of the supporters board. Tony Smith, who's the chair of that board, spends a lot of time in the office. He stops by just asking how we're progressing on those kind of things, keeping us making sure that we're doing what they've asked us to do, essentially. So we really want to take on board supporter feedback before making a decision. It's certainly not a decision that we'd ever take lightly. We kind of want to factor supporter views into everything that we do, certainly as a communications team, but as a club in general. And certainly on the subject of a match day programme, we know that as much as everyone says they love a match day programme, and every time we do a fan survey every summer, they say they want the option to buy one. Unfortunately, they don't put their hands in the pocket enough to make it viable. So we know that a lot of fans, I think 8% of fans say their first choice for information is via the website. We know that a lot of fans follow us from social media, obviously get news from people like Radio Lincolnshire and everything else like that, but we know that kind of digital first is a way that people expect to consume the Lincoln City news and find the news out these days. So we have to balance, as a small communications team, we need to balance being able to do the traditional products that we know appeal to certain clientele, and the expectation that we can stream every match to a Sky Sports quality broadcast standard. So people really expect high level content from us. Everything that we do needs to look like it's done match the same levels as if it was on Match of the Day, for instance, or Football Focus. So that takes a lot of work, and we can't quite do everything to the standard that we'd always want. So we need to be as smart and strategic as we can to make sure we give the best possible content going forward.
Lincoln coming forward at the moment, but breaks down. Boston have announced their attendance today, over 1,000 there. Once again, another good crowd at Boston United. 1,042 there with 304 visitors. Still 0-0 here between Lincoln City and Crewe, and not a lot happening at the start of this second half. We're 6 minutes into it, but O'Connor's now breaking forward from defence. And he's gone on a run on his own. Players continue though. It's Jaden Brown with a chance on goal, and he lacks the composure and blasts it high over the bar. But more concerning for Lincoln City is the fact Paudie O'Connor is currently down and in need of treatment, because if there's one player who tends to just get back on his feet and get playing again, it's Paudie O'Connor.
Yeah, I think it'll take. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look great, does it? It would take something serious to keep him out of this game if he doesn't. He'll want to continue, but that was a great opportunity. Paudie's been up a couple of times, hasn't he, from set pieces, from corners where he's kind of stayed up to off that attacking threat. Great ball through there for Jaden, just couldn't keep it down, I think, with the final finish.
And there is some kind of siren going off in the background. It's not you thinking there's something else happening in your house.
Me.
There is some kind of siren which is occurring. It's one of those where you start looking around your home if you're listening at home, or you're in the car, you start thinking, is it what I'm in? Is that what's making the noise? But it's not the case. And O'Connor is down and in need of treatment here. And well, I hope I haven't cursed it about saying the lack of injuries, because we've had Rico Hackett come off and now O'Connor down in need of some treatment. Looks like he's going to be alright to continue though, which is good. It was just a 50-50, wasn't it? A bit of a swing and a miss from the defender, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, it's a contact injury, which is usually better. It's just a bit of a knock. Needs to take a little bit of time, 30 seconds or so to get going. But again, he's jogging over, having to come off, of course, jogging over to the touchline in front of us. Looks eager to get going again. So again, touch wood, you'll not jinx us after all, Rob.
No. That's good to hear. So yeah, O'Connor looks like he's going to be okay to continue. 53 minutes in. After 5 o'clock, you'll hear more from Damien Froggatt, the club's director of operations, about the changes that have been going on behind the scenes at Sincil Bank over the summer period. And as Crewe start to make their way through on goal, O'Connor slides in. What a recovery challenge that was. He had to time that to absolute perfection on Shiloh Tracy. He's still limping a little bit, Paudie O'Connor, but well, that was if that would have been a normal League One game, that would have been a match-saving tackle there from Paudie.
Absolutely, and it just shows there's no, it can't be that serious. Or again, touchwood can't be that serious for that knock a minute ago, because he timed that to absolute perfection, and absolutely had to, because if he hadn't, he'd have been through and goal, or it would have been a foul. And again, you don't want to see red cards in friendlies, but by the letters of law, that's a dangerous place had he timed it badly.
Yeah, so really good, important challenge from Paudie O'Connor there as Jaden Brown loses possession for City. We're 9 minutes into this second half, with the score still Crewe 0, Lincoln City 0. Not too many goals going in fact, in most of our pre-season friendlies. 0-0 at Boston United as well, who are taking on Notts County this afternoon in their latest pre-season friendly in the build-up to the new season. Boston taking on 4 EFL sides as they prepare to get their campaign underway. Same weekend as Lincoln City on the 5th of August, as Crewe now look to make their way forward down the right-hand side. Tracy can't control it though for Crewe, and now maybe Lincoln will look to break with Mandroy looking to set Ben House off. It's going to be chased by O'Riordan though. And it's played out, in fact, for a Lincoln City throw, which will be taken by Jaden Brown, the Imps left wing back, recent new arrival from Sheffield Wednesday. Alistair Smith, one of the other new arrivals coming from Sutton. He's on for Rico Hackett at half time, looking to hold down a central midfield spot as Rowan goes for the long ball forward, and again easily cleared away by Crewe. O'Connor not looking like he's going to feel the effects of that knock he picked up a moment or two ago, which is good. Holding on to possession and then giving another one for Ben House to chase. The other substitutes for Lincoln today, some goalkeeper Jordan Wright, Oshin Gallagher, Dylan Duffy, Jay Ben and TJ Aoma. So there is, if needs be, defensive cover and options on the bench if O'Connor can't continue. But here come Lincoln with Ted Bishop, looks to play it through from Mandroyu, and then Bishop looked like he maybe fouled his man. Play continues. Araha misses out on the challenge, and here come Crewe with Mateusz Holicek out to the right to Tracy, just held up for a moment or two by Lincoln, able to get their shape, but Tracy has it once again. 25 yards out from goal, calls for him to shoot. Instead, it's out on the right-hand side now for Crewe with Taberner. Taberner goes for the shot. Oh, that's sensational. It's a really good goal from Joel Taberner. Right at the D, he curls it with his left foot and puts it in the top left-hand corner. Even all 6'8" and Lucas Jensen couldn't get that one. 1-0 Crewe.
It's some finish in it. Lucas Jensen is 6'8" and had absolutely no chance getting to that corner. Absolutely top bins that shot. Kind of looping effort onto it. Yeah, absolutely nothing Lucas could do from that. You've got to just hold your hands up and fair play to him.
Really good goal that was from the Crewe number 11, Joel Taberner. Just picked his spot, and as you say, it's one thing you don't expect to see a lot when Lucas Jensen goal was the ball going over him and into the top corner, but there was no way he was getting to that.
Yeah, the trajectory of the effort was just such a high. You know, at first glance you think it'd be going miles over, then just really loop down. There was very few places in that goal where he could have put it to beat Lucas, and that was probably the only one there was.
So Lincoln, who've had a really good pre-season in terms of results so far, behind in this game. That goal from Joel Taberner. The difference. What can Lincoln do now to get themselves back into it? Sean Rowan looking for the early ball forward. Bishop tries to get there. And one of the big things you'll see if you head down to Sincilbank, whether it's to pick up your new shirt or to come to the friendly or to the first game against Wickham, is the Stacey West looking quite different now when you, from the outside in particular, Luke, with the work going on.
Yeah, the car park. The car park's lost a few more spaces, but that's exciting news because we've got a really big, we'll make a real big difference to the foundation when that building goes up. So, big two-storey building. I'm sure people have seen the arts impressions that we've shared over the past 12 months or so about what that could be. I think it's a really exciting development. The foundation has so much great work done at that stadium, in the local community, across Lincolnshire in general. People don't realise just how far they reach out right to the east coast and to Mablethorpe and Skegness and those kind of areas. Yeah, it's really exciting. Obviously that helps the foundation, but it's fixed a lot of things around the stadium as well. So as part of that, we've had to get a new power supply into the fan village, which just gives us more options for fan engagement on match days, can make it a little bit quieter, a little bit neater for fans, and water supply, which is a big complaint. We know when it's a busy match, the infrastructure, what comes into ground, just can't cope with 10 and a bit thousand people, 11,000 people on a match day, all going to Lou at half time and flushing, doing it all at the same time. So we've had to get a new water main in. Really makes a difference. We've stress tested it. I know you chatting to Damien in a week, tried to stress test it, and again, touch wood, try not to jinx it like you jinxed that injury record. Touch wood, that will really resolve a lot of the less sexy infrastructure issues that we've faced with it being just an old stadium, which it's got a brilliant character, but if he was going to build it from scratch, he'd probably put things in slightly different places to where they've ended up.
There's Lasse Sorensen now. He's played in on goal, goes for the shot, and it was a good save from the goalkeeper. It was a mistake from the left back there. Zach Williams tried to nod it back, and Sorensen able to capitalise, but he was just too wide, wasn't he? It was a difficult angle for him. Not a lot else he could have done because there was nobody up with him to play it across to.
Yeah, no one for him to aim to, so he went for the near post. The keeper you could probably expect, I think, in fairness, to turn it around, but he's got to do that, got to do it well, and this corner is a great chance now for Bishop to get into the box.
Yeah, up to the hour mark now. Lincoln trailing by a goal to nil. Certainly a good opportunity that from Lasse Sorensen. As the corner does come in, Smith was lurking. Crewe are able to head it away. So yeah, if you do make the trip to Sincilbank over the next couple of weeks, you will see the back of the stand's almost just disappeared, hasn't it? Or the traditional look of the back of the stand. It's mainly brickwork there now.
Yeah, I think the main infrastructure, obviously there's no change. If you're looking at it from inside the stadium bowl itself, nothing will look any different for the fans that go in there, whether it's away fans for most matches, whether it's a game that we get home fans in as well. Nothing's really going to change. What will change, in fact, in a couple of games at a time is more concessions, more food options, in that corner for both away fans and fans in the SRP, but certainly that there shouldn't be any experience, any negative impact for the match-going experience for fans due to the work that's going on.
So that continuing to take place at Lincoln City, and as you talked about the foundation as well, they do so much work out and about in Lincolnshire day in, day out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm sure a lot of fans will have seen, you know, work. Lassie in particular stands out as a player that goes down to a lot of their events. But you know, our department, the communications department, works very close with the foundation. You know, working with whether it's news outlets, whether it's talking to you guys.
There's Mandroy who goes for the shot and scores, and Lincoln have themselves a leveller. It was Danny Mandroy able to just dispossess the Crewe defence and fire it into the bottom left-hand corner, and it is 1-1, as you were saying, Luke. Apologies for interrupting.
I mean, well, let's just pause to talk, because that was a great shot from Danny Mandroy right in the bottom corner. You know, had the power to beat Davies there, and a great finish from Danny Mandroy to draw this game level. But yeah, the foundation do lots of great work. We work very closely with them. Really see the impact they do. It's grown so much in the past few years. So fans might think of the traditional kind of football in the community and going and doing half-term coaching sessions, that kind of stuff. I certainly had when I was younger, Warren Ward, and I think half Lincolnshire had him go and do sessions with them. But those kind of days, it's gone on so much more, enhanced so much more from those kind of days. That they work with, you know, they work with people that are suffering from cancer and kind of recover from cancer. They work with, you know, loads of mental health kind of different groups, kind of facilitate those. Work very closely with people like Lincolnshire FA, work with offenders, work with people that are new to the area, help them get settled in. There's so much that they do. You know, it's real better. So it's certainly not just football fans that they engage with. They make a real difference to people, particularly people that live right in the Centre Bank area. You see walk around the stadium any time in the week, so fans will see it if they're coming down to club shop to buy tickets, to buy a replica shirt, that kind of stuff. They'll see people, whether it's out in the 3G, taking part in sessions, taking part in you know, kind of community action. There's just so much going on.
And it's important, isn't it, because it helps the stadium get use as well, rather than it being a one day every fortnight use for a building. It's used every day by the locals.
Yeah, we're so much more than just a football stadium these days, and that will only grow when the States West redevelopment completes. But yeah, you're right, it's even days like today, it's an away match day for the first team, away 2.5 hours away from the LNR Stadium, but there's plenty going on there this morning. The DS Active team, I think, trained on Saturday mornings. I saw they were training in the rain today. We had the Women's World Cup, so we had loads of girls teams down, taking part in sessions, watching the game. It's 7 days a week. I drive in at 8 in the morning, there's things going on. Sometimes I'm there at 8:30, 9 at night if I'm there for later training session, and there's stuff going on as well. It's almost non-stop down at the stadium, and it's amazing really the impact that football has. And because it's Lincoln City, so as I said a minute ago, that we interact with people that aren't Lincoln City fans, but because we're Lincoln City, you can gain access to people that wouldn't think about that health check, that kind of stuff. So people who may, you know, it's usually people look a little bit like us, males, especially as they reach a certain age. I'm certainly at that age. I don't want to guess at your age, but males kind of 40 plus that don't go to GPs when they've got things. But we know the evidence is that if it's there and it's got a bit of Lincoln City branding and it's a player saying stuff, and it's got your logo and it's got your player in front of the leaflet, and it's a video from players, that you can get that in, and someone that knows they should go and get something checked out, and they know they should go and do something. They know they should go and start doing something like walking football again, do a bit of exercise that can actually get them off the seats and go and do it. So it's a really great way of reaching people that NHS and other care providers just sometimes struggle to reach those kind of people.
Certainly is. So the foundation's work continuing at Lincoln City over the coming weeks and months. Meanwhile, matters on the pitch. 65 minutes in, Crewe 1, Lincoln 1. Crewe scoring a brilliant opener through Joel Taberner, but the equaliser coming from Danny Mandroy, who's been in amongst the goals in pre-season at the moment, which is good to see. I can tell you elsewhere this afternoon, Boston United are 1-0 down against Notts County. Kedwin Scott has scored for Notts County in the 68th minute. We're just about to see a Crewe change here. On will come Mickey Demetriou, former Newport County man, recent signing here. So he's coming on to get some minutes. on for Conor Riordan. So 25 minutes to go. We're not expecting too many changes with regards to Lincoln City today. So it wouldn't be a surprise if we don't see any until the kind of final few minutes if needed. I can tell you at the open goal, Brian Harmon has dropped another shot. So his lead is down to 2. He's 2 over for the day after 4 holes. 8 under for the tournament. 2-shot lead in the clubhouse. John Rahm 6 under. Tommy Fleetwood out on the course after 4 holes is 1 under for the day. 6 under for the tournament. And latest in the Ashes as well. It is 181 for 4 now. Australia have got to, trailing England by 94 runs. Day 4. Again, this looks like to be a weather-affected 4th test. With Lincoln in possession at the moment. Certainly having a lot more of the ball in the second half, aren't they, Luke? We've seen a lot more of Lincoln to our right than Crewe to our left.
Which is exactly what we want. I think that goal actually probably just spurred us on a little bit, didn't it? We had to go with that attacking intent. We saw that with that chance for last, and then Danny with that shot. And now hopefully we can just that'll settle us down. And as you say, spend a good chunk of the match in this half to our right, and this half to our left.
I think Mark Kennedy is just talking to maybe TJ Omer here about possibly coming on for Lincoln. Keep an eye on that central defence just to see as to who. I think maybe Paudie O'Connor he's still hobbling ever so slightly, isn't he? He's just. I'd say it was an impact injury more than anything, wasn't it? But I think they don't want to take any risks with him.
No, there's absolutely not worth it, is it? Especially at this time of the year. If he's still struggling and he won't come off, he's an absolute warrior, is Paudie. But if there's any doubt, I suspect they'll sit him down, even if that means just topping him up in midweek for minutes.
Yeah. So he's got to nearly 70 minutes again. Today, Grantham Town 2-1 down now against Kimberley Miners Welfare in the second half. As Crewe come forward with Charlo Tracy, but he's offside. So that attack grinds to a halt. We're going to see another Crewe change by the looks. It looks like Owen Lunt is about to come on for Zach Williams. So a few changes being made by the home side here. TJ Omer continuing to warm up to our left-hand side. Reminder that Lincoln City back in pre-season action on Tuesday night, where they take on Grimsby Town, which I will always remember as the hottest day of the year friendly from last season.
It was very hot. It was fully screen as well at our place, wasn't it? That was hot as well.
Yeah.
It's hot enough sat in the press box watching the game. I really wouldn't want to be out there running around as well.
No, that was one of those. It was an extremely hot day. I do remember that well at Blunder Park. As Lincoln get play back underway here with 20 minutes just over to go. 21 minutes remaining. Crewe 1, Lincoln 1. Get post-match reaction between 5 and 6. We'll also hear more from Damien Froggatt, Club's Director of Operations, on the changes at Lincoln City as the Imps try and get forward with Danny Mandroy, but it's through to the goalkeeper Harvey Davis. Also we'll have reaction to England Women's opening World Cup win this morning against Haiti. Reaction to that to come between 5 and 6 as well. And then the Hope and Glory podcast, if you can't stay around between 5 and 6, will be available later on this evening. In it you can hear the interview, if you missed it, from the start of the show with Lincoln City's Director of Football, Jez George, talking about the latest with regards to incomings at the Imps and the plan going forward for the rest of the transfer window. So that'll be available on the Hope and Glory podcast for you very shortly in the next couple of hours. Crewe just happily stroking the ball around at the back at the moment as they look to get themselves back in front in this game. Paudie O'Connor is still continuing here. Danny Mondreau comes right into the middle of 3 Crewe players as Crewe now look to come forward. But yeah, TJ Omer not on yet for Lincoln. O'Connor still defending, but here come Crewe down the right, playing it back into the edge of the area. Shot comes in, just wide of the post. That was a decent effort by the number 16, Lewis Billington. Worked the ball well. Billington with a shot from the edge of the area and just put it low past the post.
That was a really nice move from Crewe. We've seen him at times really put some really slick passing together. Very hard to keep with him. Certainly Billington, that shot would be quite disappointed that he didn't make the goalkeeper work. Certainly there was enough of the far post to aim for. We'll expect to have done better.
Yeah, a couple of good chances for Crewe in this game. Lincoln have been not necessarily creating chance after chance today. Had a couple of good opportunities. Last Sorensen with one just before Lincoln's goal coming, which came through Danny Mandroiu, but away from that, been pretty tight between the two. Oh, that's a lovely turn though from Ben House, who's now racing in on goal. House in on goal, can he score? No, it's a wonderful block. Mickey Demetriou coming across from out of nowhere. Lincoln have a corner, but Ben House, what a turn that was.
He just swiveled, absolutely looked to have so much space to run into. A great cover and tackle, but Ben House made that chance himself, very nearly finished it as well. Great little period of play.
So still 1-1. And a chance for Lincoln to get a corner into the box once again. Ted Bishop on corner duty. With Porty O'Connor, Alistair Smith another option now. Sean Rowan up there, Adam Jackson as well. So it looks like Porty O'Connor's okay to continue for the meantime. Ball falls to Sean Rowan with a shot, it's cleared off the line and it's a simple tap in.
Yeah.
And Lincoln have themselves a goal, and once again, Danny Mandroiu is finding the back of the net with regularity.
That's one of the easiest finishes he's ever going to have, though. And I think Sean,
it was so nonchalant. Looks like it was offside, didn't it?
Well, we both paused. We both paused to see that the flag was up. Just had to double check. But yeah, in fairness, it was a great clearance offline, wasn't it, from one of their defenders, from Sean Rowan's shot, and Danny was just right place, right time to turn it home.
So Mandroiu scores again. He scored last week against Boston. He scored in the friendly at Kings Lynn. And he scored again here. So yeah, Danny Mandroiu scoring plenty of goals. We spoke to him after the Boston game last week, because of course last season he missed a lot of pre-season with injury, and which he came with from Shamrock, and it never really, it was always a couple of months behind, wasn't he, everybody, really, when he finally was able to get out on the pitch. It was a difficult start for him in a sense, wasn't it, and the problem was that he never really able to get that fitness up regularly in a season, but certainly having a full pre-season seems to be doing him the world of good.
Yeah, I think it's always difficult if you come across from a full season in League of Ireland, so we've seen it work really well with players going out there for the first half of the season and come straight into our season. But if you've played a full season there and come into us, it's just you need that break at times to actually switch off. So I feel like Danny Mandroiu over summer just needed that little month and a half to go switch off away from football, go and just enjoy his beach holidays, lounge around for a bit, let his body fully recover. And as you say, he's been absolutely on fire in pre-season so far.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see plenty of Danny Mandroiu scoring once the new League One season gets underway on the 5th of August. Elsewhere, I can tell you it's still Boston trailing Notts County by a 0-0 in that pre-season friendly. Last Sorensen looks to try and clear it for Lincoln City. We've got a quarter of an hour left to go, and we do have a free kick in the end. That will be Crewe's. Ashes latest 205 for 4 now. Australia trailing by 70 runs, and elsewhere today, it's a big sporting weekend, it feels, across the world, because in the Hungarian Grand Prix qualifying, Lewis Hamilton has taken pole. Max Verstappen joining on the front row of the grid. Then it's the two McLarens of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, as Crewe get ready to line up this free kick from the left-hand side, played in, headed away by Ted Bishop, only to the edge of the penalty area. Shot comes in, and well, the Crewe player had the shot hot down, holding his head, and Jaden Brown's been called over here, Luke. I didn't really see what the contact was.
I have no idea. It looked like the player down looked like he blocked the shot, so I thought that's why he's down. I'm not quite sure why referees called Jaden over here.
Yeah, just having a word with him. Porty O'Connor's been called over as well. Good news is Porty O'Connor looks like he's going to be continuing, which is important, because a few minutes ago he was struggling, wasn't he, a little bit, but looks like it's okay. As we edge towards the final 10 minutes. And we'll wait and see what's happening here. The substitute there, Owen Lunt, was the man who was down. He's okay and all right to continue. So play will get back underway once he's made his way off the pitch. Grantham Town levelling against Kimberley Miners Welfare. 2-2 there now. As we get ready for this free kick from Crewe. So around 25 yards out, this central position. Jack Powell is lining it up with the right foot, got two left-footed options as well, the home side. And it is going to be the left-footed option. It is straight into the arms of Lucas Jensen. And a comfortable save, that one.
Yeah, absolutely straight into his midriff. You could not want it any better placed.
Nice and easy that for Lucas Jensen. So Jordan Wright on the bench today. And now Ethan Arahan is just having a word with Charlie Colkett. It's just getting a little heated. Just a little bit, isn't it? Few things happening.
Yeah, I think just Colkett and Nick Powell and the break just need to be pulled away a little bit. Just understand that it's a friendly. You want to win, you want to treat it competitively, but it's still not a competitive match.
Should say, in terms of competitive football, Scotland get their League Cup underway today. Sam 1 playing for Falkirk, who are leading 2-1 against Partick Thistle with 5 to go.
Happy days for Sam.
Yes.
Let's hope they hold on.
Getting some football, regular football, and it obviously as a Scotland under-21 international, putting himself in the spotlight there as well. As Lincoln play the long ball forward, trying to do something with it, but again easily dealt with by the home side. As a few fans just start to make their way towards the exit, and we are going to see another change for Crewe, and it's going to be the man who just squared up to Ethan Arahan. Charlie Colkett coming off, and Connor Evans will come on. So he's about to come on. Again, good news for Lincoln City is TJ Owen's going to sat back down in the dugout, so Porty O'Connor looks like he's going to see out the 90 minutes. As I say, we're not expecting, Luke, really to see any of these players on Tuesday night.
No, I think we're at this point it's about getting players up to full speed, ready to play a full game. That's certainly the approach I think of Matt Kennedy, the head coach. So fans may have seen the story put out yesterday that these players, the players who got 90 here, will probably mostly be put away until next Saturday for Rotherham. The guys that have come off the bench, so Arsenal's come off the bench, and the rest who are here will probably get some game time on Tuesday. And any players that Mark feels need topping up minutes. So there's a few of the younger players that aren't here today. People like Charlie Kendall, you may well see them get some game time at Blundell Park.
Yeah, the 6 subs on the bench, and Arthur Smith coming on so far today, as you mentioned, the likes of Charlie Kendall and Alicia Ahui not playing today. Morgan Worsfold, Greg as well, other players that have not been involved. should be able to get some minutes on Tuesday, and latest with Tyler Walker, who did have a training session today, and the possibility of seeing him next week, which is exciting for Lincoln fans.
Yeah, I'm sure they can't wait until they get to see him. It might be, I think with Tyler, fans need to be patient to understand that he's not been brought in to win the game against Bolton, to win against Wycombe. He's been brought in to win, hopefully, 20 or 30 games, or contribute towards winning plenty of games throughout the course of the season. So you've got to take your time a bit with Tyler, get him up to full fitness, and I hope he can recreate some of those goals that we saw so effectively in his first time with us.
Stamford now leading Peterborough Sports by 3-0 as they continue their build up to the start of the Southern League Central Premier season after their promotion last year. Stamford will kick off on the first weekend at like Lincoln and Boston, 5th of August. They have a home game against Kettering, recently relegated from National League North, so a tough start for Graham Drury's side. We'll have a reporter at that game now on the opening day. Part of our coverage here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire with 8 minutes to go here. Score still Crewe 1, Lincoln 2. 2 goals for Danny Mandroiu. Crewe trying to make their way forward, but it is fair to say that there's not been too much really for Lucas Jensen to have to do in the whole game, but especially in this second half.
Yeah, I mean the match itself's not been a thriller, but it's
that's a good way of putting it.
But there's it's been the benefits. The benefits are seen for the outfield players. The benefits of that. We're very close, touch wood, to 90 minutes for 9 of the 10 outfield players that started the game. Very close to potentially another match unbeaten, another winning match. And again, results are not that important in pre-season, but that winning mentality is always good to have, to find a way to come from behind and win a game. I think certainly Mark Kennedy, the head coach, will appreciate the different scenarios that we've been able to put in front of players and just see how they cope, because you want to go into that first game at Bolton and the first home game against Wycombe having known what it's like to come from behind, and to know that these lads the heads won't drop if that happens in a more important game.
As Crewe play the ball into the box, Crewe man is down at the moment. Over on the far side, it was Adebisi who put the ball into the penalty area. But he's back on his feet and okay to continue. With 7 minutes left, and Lincoln leading by 2-1. Jaden Brown just slipping there, but he's able to maintain possession for Lincoln City. Mandroiu now looking to flick it through for Bishop. Given away though by City's goal scorer. Jaden Brown now has just gone down, now just hobbling, getting back to his feet. That's one to keep an eye on there. 2 in fact it was him and the Crewe man he was marking. I think they probably just collided more than anything. Look like they're going to be okay to continue, and I think we can see the mentality really of Mark Kennedy in terms of subs today. The fact there's no subs warming up at the moment suggests that these ones that are on will remain on for the final 6 minutes.
Yeah, and it's all about getting ready for the start of the season. Though it's this, as a result, this kind of game is a potential banana skin, definitely. But again, we've come through. Again, we keep saying touch wood with 5 minutes to go, but if we can come through this without any serious injuries, everyone's got the 90 minutes. That's almost all you want from the coaching viewpoint. We want to entertain the fans that have made the trip across. If they've come from Lincoln as we have, that's a 5-hour round trip on a day when most people would probably rather be anywhere else than go to a trip to Crewe. But in terms of what the coaching staff want out of the team, we've ticked every box today.
Yeah, it's been good so far for Lincoln City, and we'll get reaction from Mark Kennedy, one of the players as well. Who we're going to have, Luke? You're the man who decides who we're going to have, so I can ask you without having to get a message off you. Who are we going to have today? Who are you choosing?
This is an unusual one for me, because normally me and my communication team's colleagues can have a chat. So Kieran is one of the communication assistants here alongside me today, having to WhatsApp each other to decide which player we're going to get. We're probably going to get Ben House. We think that turn alone is worth getting him out talking to you.
Okay, Ben House is what we're going to go for. That's that's the message that's been communicated. That's good. Yeah, so it's I thought I'd put you on the spot. I don't know how the decision. Are you usually the ones who decide who's the up for man of the match as well when there's the vote on social media?
So we do for that. So obviously for home games, the man of the match, Alan Longley's out, is picked by the match sponsors. So that's how they decide. But yeah, we have a decision. We try to include who the sponsors picked for that. You know, we think that we don't want to go against them. But yeah, we have a collective chat. Sometimes if it's on a drive home from an away game or back in the office after a home game, we have at times gone to the coaching staff. You know, literally when he couldn't decide, genuinely I've gone and asked Mark Kennedy as head coach, which player would you put, and he's given us that call. But yeah, we pick that and then hope that we don't get a battering for leaving out someone who fancy had a great game, because obviously it's subjective, and that's the beauty of football. That is very subjective. That we think someone's had a great game. We try to be as impartial as possible, and not just put the players who, you know, the players that we particularly like, or a player that has been good to us in the week for doing something. But yeah, I'm not sure we'll have a poll today from a friendly. Not enough people saw it, but that's us.
I can tell you in the cricket, wicket has just gone. Marcus Labuschagne is out. So now 211 for 5, Australia trailing by 64 runs. So a breakthrough there for England in the Ashes. They did just give out the attendance here, which was 1,160 with 112 visitors. Thanks to Kieran there, who's listening along. Sometimes the problem with headphones is you'll find here, look, you don't always hear those things, and you're relying on other people around you to make those kind of notes. But yeah, about the same as what's been at Boston today then.
Luckily the communications team here, Rob, to help you out. So whether it's
Exactly.
whether it's going to fetch pies for you before the match,
yes, which I did appreciate.
which we've been known to do, bring the sweets that Kieran's dishing out.
It's been a good day today. I've enjoyed it.
We do try to work quite as closely as we can with you guys as a team. Obviously we greatly appreciate the support, especially with I Follow commentary. So fans that listen. And fans who listen, in fact, to the Rotherham game will hear Michael and hopefully someone from the club alongside him next week. But yeah, we really appreciate the help, and it's a small gesture of making sure you get the attendance that you've missed, or some sweets or a pie as a little thank you from your friends in the comms team at Lincolnshire.
It was enjoyable. I mean, to say it's quite a walk down to get a pie, and I knew how long I had on a song, and I thought it's going to be a squeeze.
It is. The press box here is right up there with Sunderland's is further up, let's be honest, but that's right up with the God's Four Cities as well. But it's very steep steps as well. I wouldn't like to be here if it's wetter and windier or colder, or if I was trying to get down in a rush.
Yes, it's not the easiest of places. Boston has finished 1-0 against Notts County in their pre-season friendly, and we've got about a minute to go here plus added time, which I don't think we'll see a lot of. I know we've had a couple of injuries, but I don't think we'll see too much in terms of added time here. And then I'll say we'll head down, we'll make the long trip down pitch side, and get you some post-match reaction to this game with Ben House, and also with Mark Kennedy. Grantham have gone 3-2 up at Kimberley Miners Welfare in their pre-season friendly in the last minute. As Crewe look to maybe have one last attack cut out by Jaden Brown for the moment. Fourth official getting ready to put up his board to say how many minutes of added time there will be. Got about 20 seconds or so of normal time remaining. Lincoln leading by 2-1. 2 goals for Danny Mandroy. Lincoln coming from behind in this game as well. Sorensen clears it forward to the Lincoln goal scorer. Fires the pass into Alistair Smith, who's now just going to... I thought he was going to drive forward. Instead looks to hold on to the ball and get more Lincoln players into the attack. Ted Bishop has it. 2 minutes of added time to go then, for Lincoln to pick up another victory in pre-season. Or will Crewe get a late leveller? Certainly Crewe's goal is the goal of the game. Wonderful individual effort by Joel Taberner. Hit it into the top left-hand corner. But Looks like it's going to be Lincoln who will get the result, the victory here in pre-season in Staffordshire. As the ball's given away, and Mandroy's going to go from the halfway line, and he's gone for the shot, and it's gone wide. It was worth a go. I mean, we might have had to, I know we spoke to him last week, we might have had to change who we were speaking to if he'd have scored his hat-trick by scoring from the halfway line.
You can't blame him for trying for the can he? It was never quite, with last effort at Wickham last year, you looked from the moment left his boots, had a reasonable chance, so it was never quite on target, but well worth the shot from Danny.
Yeah, although I'm not sure Mark Kennedy will think that way. If Crewe go and get a late leveller here with Adebisi playing it into the box, headed up by Adam Jackson, not cleared by Lincoln for the moment. Crewe have it right hand corner of the area, curls it in, Adam Jackson heads it away. That looked like it was going to fly in. Lucas Jensen was flying across to try and save it, but in 2 minutes of added time, Lincoln have a player down. Is that Ethan Arahan? I think who's just gone. Jaden Brown again is down for the time being, as Ted Bishop then fires it away. But yeah, a bit of defending to do for Lincoln City for the final few moments of this game as they look to see out injury time and hang on for the victory. Crewe firing it out towards the right hand side. It has gone out of play, and there is the full-time whistle. Another victory, Luke, for Lincoln City.
And job done all round, isn't it? It's 90 minutes completed for the players that Mark Kennedy wanted. Another good result. We know results breed confidence. Some good play, good finish from Danny Mandroy for his first goal in particular. Some nice passing moves, and job done. Move on. More of the same against Brisbane Rotherham, please.
Well, Luke, thank you for joining us today as part of our commentary, or part of our coverage here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire. We're all going to head down pitch side and get reaction from Ben House and from Mark Kennedy to this latest Lincoln City win in pre-season. Elsewhere in pre-season action today, Boston United losing 1-0 at home to Notts County. Stamford beat Peterborough Sports by 3-0. Also today, I can tell you Grantham Town have won 3-2 at Kimberley Miners Welfare, and the latest with regards to Spalding United, they're taking on Stratford Town in a pre-season friendly, and that's just finished, and Stratford have beat Spalding by 2-1. Keeping you up to date with the Ashes, with the golf, and also bringing you Lincoln City reaction between now and 6 o'clock. It's Beth Pritchard.
I love that one. Senorita by Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello here on BBC Radio Lincolnshire, Hope and Glory. And finally, we can hear from the Lincoln City head coach himself, Mark Kennedy. Rob Makepeace went down pitch side to catch him.
Mark, thoughts on today? Again, what you wanted to get out of it?
Yes and no. Minutes really good. A lot of 90 minutes for, I think 10 of the lads got 90 minutes. That was really important, particularly for somebody like Teddy as well, who's had a little bit of a fractured pre-season, so that was good. So physically it was excellent. I didn't really enjoy the game for a number of reasons, but I'm pleased that I didn't enjoy it, because that's the reality of football. It can't be utopian every week. The fact we were 1-0 down, came back from that. I thought there was some really good passages of play, comfortable in possession, and other things that I wasn't happy with, which just kind of told me that, kind of reminded me we're still in the middle of pre-season.
Rico came off at half-time. I know he went down a few minutes before half-time. Is he okay?
Yes, he wanted to stay on, actually. To be honest, I wanted to take him off, but through the performance team and the medical, they agreed to leave him on, and then at half-time the decision was made by them to take him off, so it was just precautionary. I think from my own perspective, what worried me was he felt his calf as opposed to a kick, and my nervousness was normally when you feel your calf, when you carry on it will go, but I thought it was a really bright decision by the medical team.
And as you say, a lot of players getting 90 minutes, which at this stage, when you've got 2 weeks to go, it's good to get to that level.
100%, and just trying to turn the screw in to emphasise the thing that we're here to win games of football as well. So I was pleased today that for everybody that wasn't here, there was some really good football, but there was other parts of it I thought was a bit fractured, and sometimes it's nice to win a game like that, because that's the reality of football.
Tuesday, is it going to be a switch around, seeing a lot of the players we haven't seen today?
Yeah, 100%. All the lads that started today, they won't be starting on Tuesday, so Yeah, 100%. So I appreciate it's Grimsby, but I appreciate it's a local derby. I appreciate that we'll probably, or before I say this, a lot of fans will probably want to go there. But Tuesday's a real training exercise for us, and it's really about minutes. So for fans that are thinking of travelling away, we'd love to see you there. We'd love to put on a show for you. But the 11 that started today won't start at Grimsby.
We spoke with Jez George before the game today, and he talked a little bit about wanting to get a couple more players in. You've got areas you want to target, and you must be happy that you feel like you're getting somewhere and you're getting closer to where you want to target.
Yeah, and credit to Jez and his team. I think how the club, how the recruitment department conduct themselves, the professionalism, how they bear their teeth to get players is really, really impressive. How they sell the club. And I say them, I'm a big part of that as well, but I think we've had a really, really strong recruitment drive this season, and there's still a couple more we'd like to get in. We are working really, really hard on that, and we've identified our targets. We've been aggressive with it. So, but I've said before, you're in the hands of other people.
And I know you've always talked about Tyler Walker taking time, but is he progressing well in the training work he's doing?
Yeah, look, apologies if I have said this or I haven't, so if I say it again. Look, Tyler's 3 weeks behind everybody. He's training, he's in with the group, does everything everybody else does. But if you just think about, if you speak to anybody in football, the pre-season, you normally have 2 weeks, 14 days of training before you play a game. So his plan's actually the exact same as everybody else's. He's just 3 weeks behind everybody else. So we hopefully get a full week behind him this week, and we can see him hopefully next week against Rotherham.
That was Lincoln City head coach Mark Kennedy here on Hope and Glory. We will hear from Ben House very shortly, but before that, a one-hit wonder, Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon. Now it's time to hear from one of Lincoln City's players that was out there on the pitch today with the full 90. It's Ben House.
The most important thing today, I guess, for you as a player was getting 90 minutes in the bag.
Of course, yeah. I think the way they played as well, they're quite young. They tried to play out, and it helped us to try and create our press going into Bolton on the first day of the season. So yeah, it was a good test. Good to get 90 minutes into the bank, and yeah, we should go again.
And how do you feel once you have that 90 minutes? Will you feel it tomorrow morning? Is it at that stage of pre-season where 90 minutes hurts?
Yeah, I'm feeling it now, to be honest with you. Very tired, mentally and physically. But as I said, it's a good test, and it's what we need to be prepared to go into being as fit as we can against Bolton.
Yeah, 2 weeks to go now until we get things underway. Pre-season, you must be happy with just how things have gone generally in terms of the results as well.
Mm-hmm, yeah, results have been good. Performances have been good. I think individually we've all put a shift in. I mean, as I said, it's all about working towards the first day. 2 weeks left, as you say, and it's come around quick. I think, to be fair, it's starting to hit that. It's actually closer than we thought. But yeah, we're looking forward to it.
And developing those partnerships, whether it's with Rico out on the right, whether it's with Jaden coming forward from left back, I guess that's really important for you as a centre forward.
Yeah, I mean, those additions have been amazing, to be fair. The way they play is exactly how it fits our system. Even Rico coming in and pressing and joining the way that we do things here is it's really good. And obviously Jaden getting up and down. We need that energy going up and down the pitch, and he's got that.
And it feels like a group that have got that bonding from last year, because there's a lot of you that are still here, but just having those extra additions is really helping in terms of those key areas.
Yeah, I think that we're gelling more and more, to be honest with you. I think we did really well last season. Hopefully we can do better this season. I think that we've already sussed out each other, so hopefully we can, as I say, make it gel going into the season.
And you get the Tuesday night where you can relax, I guess, or take a little bit of a back seat for Grimsby, and then get ready for a good test against Rotherham.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure we will get a little rest, but we'll do something definitely. But yeah, we're looking forward to Rotherham, because that'll be a big test.
And coming up against Championship side at the end of the pre-season, is that the way you like it, to build the strength of the opposition up over the pre-season period?
I think definitely. I think I'm not going to be disrespectful and say the lower teams, obviously they're more about fitness, and when you come against the Championship teams and higher teams in general, it's more about being mentally aware as well as physically. Obviously they're going to be better on the ball, better tactically, so we just have to match it or be better.